As the American Le Mans Series begins the stretch run, there are 4 class titles still up for grabs and many questions still to be answered. In Prototype 1, James Weaver and Butch Leitzinger are hoping for more of the magic they had at Mosport to chase champion for the title. In Prototype 2, Clint Field may have more wins, but Ian James has the points lead. Here at Road America has a new fast race car. In GTS, the Corvette rivalry is at its peak, as Oliver Gavin and Olivier Beretta know if the sister car falters, they're still in the title hunt. And in GT, only 4 points separate the top 2, but in the class it's already seen up to 4 winners. Anything can happen.
The American Le Mans Series. Cool cars, world-class drivers, premier road courses. Born in France in 1923 with the first running of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the ALMS is the glamour, the glory, and the grueling reality of sports car racing. European style with American attitude. Drivers from around the world strut their speed, skill, and endurance. 4 separate classes racing on the track at the same time. It is the chain that connects the new and the faithful sports car fans of an extraordinary endurance racing tradition. This is the American Le Mans Series.
The 2004 American Le Mans Series enters its final 3 events on 3 very different tracks with 3 contrasting race lengths. Today at Road America, it's a 2-hour 45 sprint, followed by Road Atlanta's famed 10-hour Petit Le Mans, and finally a 400k flyer at Laguna Seca. And the best thing about all of that is all 4 class championships are far from decided. Hello everyone, Lee Diffie along with our road racing analyst Dorsey Schrader with you from Road America. Great place to be right now. Dorsey, let's talk about this. As we mentioned at the top of the show, 3 different races coming up to round out the season. How do these guys play it from here on in?
Well, today's race is the shortest of the last 3 at 2 hours and 45 minutes. This is truly a sprint race. However, that being said, these modern day race cars are built to go the distance. So the car's not a factor. It goes to the men themselves. If you're a driver, you drive fast. You don't hit anybody on the racetrack and keep the car on the road. If you're a mechanic, you check everything, you check it twice. And team strategy is going to play out who wins this championship.
What about this place, Road America? It's one of the best tracks in the world.
It is a great racetrack. 4 miles around here, really long straightaways, very fast, good braking zones, good passing zones. We will see a great race today.
We're talking all about a championship, and let's take a look at the points. Andy Wallace needs to deliver today, so too do James Weaver and Butch Leitzinger to stay in touch with the champion boys JJ Lehto and Marco Werner. In P2, it's all about Ian James. Can he hang on? He leads his teammate James Gouet by 4, but the car on the move is Field and Liddell. With more on prototypes, here's Calvin Fish.
Lee, in P1, Audi may sit atop the point standings, but in qualifying, their struggles continue. For the 5th time in 7 races, it will be a Dyson Racing Lola that starts today's race from the pole position. It was Butch Leitzinger aboard the number 16 car who took the top qualifying slot. And not only that, the Audis have been swept off the front row. It's the number 20 machine with Andy Wallace starting 2nd. But the big news this weekend in prototypes is in P2. The Miracle Motorsports team start from the pole position for the very first time, and it's in a brand new race car. A Courage C65 was shipped over from Europe on just Wednesday. The team quickly got to grips with that race car, and Ian James put the car on the pole position. But for more on the production-based classes, let's go down to Brian Till.
Calvin, in GTS, the Corvettes have been dominant all season long, but the best rivalry within that class is actually within that team. The number 3 car of Johnny O'Connell and Ron Fellows certainly leading in the wins column and in the championship, but their teammates Olivier Beretta and Oliver Gavin want to prove that their 2 victories this season, including a win the last round at Mosport, are certainly no fluke. Beretta has put that car on the pole for the 6th time this season, and while they know they must score points to have any hope of remaining in the championship hunt, they've made it clear they will not go down without a fight. And you talk about fights, the GT battle has been tight all year long, and the war continued in qualifying yesterday as no fewer than 4 cars sat on the pole at some point in time, but it was eventually settled by Jörg Bergmeister, who obliterated the track record by a 2.5 seconds. He will start up front for the 3rd time this season. Strong contingent of GT cars, and the excitement should be good in that class yet again today. Lee?
Thanks, Brian. And talking about qualifying yesterday, it was a sight to behold, a thrilling session. And it's timely now that we meet the 4 guys who put their machines on the 4 respective class poles with our Audi starting grid.
I'm Butch Leitzinger, driver number 16 Dyson Thetford Norcold Lola, and my co-driver is James Weaver.
My name's James Gouet. I'm from Athens, Georgia. I'm driving the number 10 Miracle Motorsports P2 entry. My co-drivers are Ian James.
I'm Oliver Gavin. I drive the number 4 CompuWare Chevrolet Corvette, and my teammate is Olivier Beretta. Hi, I'm Jörg Bergmeister. I'm driving number 23, McKenna, Lehto Web, Alex Job Racing Porsche, together with Timo Bernhard.
And the rest of the grid at the top of your screen with the speed strip cars rolling here at Road America. Dorsey, what's the real key here? What's the key for victory at this track?
Well, you're going to see the guys in the front of prototypes really be aggressive, particularly the two Dyson cars that are 1-2 on the front row. They're going to really go hard early on because you can get a lot of gain right away and get this thing broken up.
Let's get it down to Brian Till for an update.
Well, guys, one of the things that has changed down here is the weather. We've got a good wind out of the south that we have not had all weekend long, and that's going to make the car slow up the front straightaway, but it's going to give them a big tailwind down into turn 5. Some of the guys already on the rev limiter throughout the weekend. They have a big tailwind now, and couple that with a draft, they could be bouncing off the rev limiter significantly down towards the braking zone. That could make pulling out to pass difficult.
Round 7 of the American Le Mans Series. The Road America 500 is underway, and poleman Butch Leitzinger leads into turn 1. Look at this. JJ Lehto thinks about it on the inside on Chris Dyson, then thinks twice.
Chris Dyson had none of that. He just moved right over and said, no, you're not passing me right there anyway.
Well, this battle resumes. It was scintillating at Portland. Chris Dyson versus JJ Lehto, and now John Field wants to buy into it, and he's turned JJ Lehto around.
Field gets in the back of JJ and spins the Audi. That only in turn 3.
Oh, we've got Portland all over again. Oh boy, JJ Lehto will be fuming.
Yeah,
now watch this comeback.
Shaking his head in there. He just can't believe that that just happened.
So it's Leitzinger, Chris Dyson, then John Field, and Lehto back on track, and there is a huge fight about to begin.
He will not be a happy man, but getting by all these other cars, at least on this racetrack, there's a lot of racing room, so it's easier to be done here than it is in some places.
Let's take a look at a replay of that incident. Exactly what happened. We ride with Lehto.
Listen here. Yeah, just a little tap in the quarter panel. That's all she takes. From the outside looking in. Look, Field goes to the inside. Just tries not to hit him, but touches. Doesn't take much.
It must have just been very minor.
Doesn't take much, I tell you, when you're in the corner that deep. A little bump like that and around you go. But remember, the tires are very cold right now as well.
And John Field's a smart man. He was just being, he was just trying to make the most of that opportunity because he saw JJ go to the outside trying to go around Chris, and he thought, I'll dive on the inside.
Cold tires played an issue in that too. I mean, the Audi spun quite easily because it was on cold tires. Had been warm, that bump probably would not have spun the tire.
Butch Leitzinger leads the Road America 500. You're looking at Chris Dyson and John Field battling hard here for second. And it's great to see the Intersport Lola back in the hunt. And we've lost the 31, the Peterson White Lightning machine. Craig Stanton has spun.
That's a spin down in Canada corner.
And I beg
no contact yet. That's good news.
Stand corrected there. My apologies. It is Dave Murray in the car. Dave Murray in the Peterson White Lightning Porsche. They did an excellent job in qualifying yesterday. Craig Stanton actually qualified the car and stole third away from the racers group right in the last moments of qualifying. Let's take a look at what happened to Dave.
It's past the corner, so I'm thinking there's going to be some contact here. Right there, just to the outside, gets on the gravel, around he goes. 71 moves him over and just gets in. Once you get in that gravel, that was a good job by somebody going on the outside there.
I think that was Darren Law that just rounded him up. Update from race control, no penalty to John Field. They have reviewed the situation and have decided no disciplinary action to John Field. And again, fair call, Dawes?
Yeah, I think so. Again, I think if the tires had been warm, that wouldn't have been a spin. It was just a racing bump, but on cold tires, it's just not much there.
Check this out, though. Field is running, and he's hounding Chris Dyson.
Field really loose there. You saw him come off that turn 7, get up on the curb. Here's the run out of 8 down into the carousel.
Into the carousel as that fight for second goes on. Remember, in the American Le Mans Series, all 4 classes on the track at the one time. P1, P2, that's the prototype classes. GTS and this class, GT, and both Alex Job Porsches, Jörg Bergmeister and Mark Lieb, running first and second in this class.
Well, David Murray, not a very happy race car driver right now. They were in the lead of GT when that incident happened. He said the car seems to be fine, but not at all happy with the 71 car that was beside him that pushed him to the outside, especially leading the race like that. He said those guys have to pay attention. They've got to be aware of where we are.
That was a very experienced driver behind the wheel too, Jean-Philippe Belloc in the 71 Car Sport Viper. Now it's Alex Job Racing, 1 and 2. The pole man leads the way. Let's find out where JJ Lehto is and his comeback. He's sitting in 9th where he was last time round, make that a little bit higher now as he gets past Clint Field. He's up to 5th now, and he's got the P2 class leader, Ian James, is the next one on his list.
That's quite a story. Ian James in that car for the first time. This car just flown over and got here on Wednesday. Nice to see the Courage, a beautiful car.
There's about 5 or so folks from Courage here working on that car, doing a nice job, and it's got a lot of attention this week, Cal.
It really has, and one of the concerns for Ian James with the Courage was the fact that they've switched from the Michelins to the Yokohama tires, and they were really thrown a curveball. It was only about 10 days ago they made the decision to buy that Courage. So the Yokohama boys have been working double overtime. They got a good consistent tire, but Ian said the main concern was getting the tires up to temperature in these early laps, but so far so good. It looks like he's running strong.
That's a good point, Calvin, because in practice, James Gouet at the wheel did not get the tires up to temperature and had a crash with that car on the opening day, doing significant damage to the underneath side of it because of cold tires.
And the man behind the name, Yves Courage, is here, overseeing things with the Miracle Motorsports team. It's a miracle that it actually made it here in time. So those guys will be very pleased to see Ian James at the top of the list in Prototype 2. And you get that feeling it's going to be a great battle between those guys. And just wait for JJ. He is coming on strong. 4th overall. He's about 12 or 13 seconds down on our race leader at the moment. We'll update you. He's got 11 seconds to make up on John Field. It'll be interesting to watch. Road America is certainly one of the most favorite tracks for the drivers. Let's see what they have to say.
Yeah, this track is great. It's really fast. You have everything. You have fast corners, slow corners. And I think drivers can make a big difference here.
You need is to use as little aero as you can get away with because the straightaways are so long.
We have a lot of fast corners, also slow corners, but the fast corners, that means the carousel, and then after the carousel, the kink and the bridge corner. It's very fast. It's in 6th gear for us on the bridge, and that's funny.
Speed Channel's coverage of the Road America 500 is brought to you by Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. Welcome back, everyone. Race leader Butch Leitzinger. He has a 5.4 second margin at the moment over Chris Dyson. John Field is right there with Dyson as well, battling hard, and JJ Lehto is setting this track alight. A 1:54 last time around. The Finn is flying. He's still in 4th, and he's got 6.5 seconds to catch up. There's the interval 1st to 2nd. The 2 Dyson Lolas, and then John Field. Great shot. This shows it perfectly through the carousel.
However, JJ Lehto with that lap time is running 2 seconds a lap quicker, and that's him at the top of the screen right here. He's coming around the carousel right now. He's catching these guys at a rate of 2 seconds per lap.
Through the kink. Flat out, this is awesome stuff. There's JJ. So he's now got John Field in his sights. Well, on the straights anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to wonder when he gets there, is he going to do anything to reciprocate for the bump? I don't think he will, because it was not an intentional situation.
No. There may be one of those now customary JJ hand gestures.
Yeah, I think he might get that. Definitely get that.
We ride now with the ADT champion Audi.
One thing to watch on JJ, look right here at the top of his helmet as he goes down the straightaway. He's starting to get sucked down. When he brakes here, watch his helmet. He's going to go down like 1.5 inches from the compression. Here, whoa, look at that, look at that. That hurts your neck and my back. Go. These cars are brutal to drive. I mean, there's so much downforce and so much grip. Again, you see it there, just really compressing it down into the seat.
And again, he's lapped in that 1:54 bracket. So now he is only 7.3 seconds down, rather 10 seconds down on the race leader. So JJ is really hauling. In GTS, it's the Corvette guys, 1 and 2, and it's Olivier Beretta, the pole sitter, who leads Ron Fellows. And from everyone here on the sports car side of things, we want to congratulate Ron for a brilliant drive last weekend in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. From the back of the field to 2nd, it was an amazing run at the Glen.
Yeah, he's really good at the Glen. He's good at those big stock cars, too. He was having to go earlier on at trying to get by his teammate here. 2 cars obviously equal.
And Beretta did an amazing job earlier in the show. Brian Till mentioned about the amazing lap done by Jörg Bergmeister, but Beretta's lap in GTS was pretty amazing as well. And these two going hard at it. The rivalry, as we said earlier, is at its peak. These guys are hard at it. Johnny O'Connell was a little disappointed that he and Ron didn't get the win at Mosport after he drove so hard at the end of the race and came so close. On the other side of the fence, the four boys were thrilled to get another victory. They want to stay in this championship hunt. Third car in GTS is the 63, the Celine with Terry Borchella behind the wheel. And in GT, updating those positions, Bergmeister and Lieb still 1 and 2. Let's go back to prototypes though. Here we have it. JJ Lehto has made very quick work of this. Catching John Field. John has a quick look, has another look in the mirror. He knows JJ's there. He's coming fast.
He's coming very fast. In 2 seconds a lap, this will be a no contest. And this is where the bump happened up turn 1. Look here.
Back to the scene of the crime. JJ had a look, but not quite close enough.
Field using all the road, drops a wheel out in the ditch right there, and clouts JJ with a bunch of mud. That always makes you mad as a driver, too, in these open cockpit cars. Look at the speed that the field cars got. Huge speed on this. Oh, blocks up the brake. Good save right there. Really fighting hard with that Audi.
The red and blue prototype up ahead is John Field. Then the white and blue one is Chris Dyson as they come by Brian Willman. Whoa!
Brian saw him and stayed out of the way wisely.
I think JJ's view may have been blocked a little there from John Field, and I'm not sure that he was aware of Brian Willman coming up.
Here, look at this. Late dive bomb attempt.
Great stuff. How long will it take? Will he be able to make short work of this?
Well, the field car much lighter, that's for sure, so it's got the advantage when it comes into those situations.
Now let's watch it. Straight line speed. Field versus
absolutely
Lehto.
Flat out through the kink, flat in 6th gear. Awesome speed.
Down into Canada corner. He looks at it, thinks about it, but he's not there. Meanwhile, as we enjoy these three guys, up front, Butch Leitzinger has checked out. 8 seconds he's got over these guys. He's enjoying a very clear, clean run.
I spoke to John Field before the green today, Lee, and he mentioned the fact that they'd been running what they believed was their high downforce nose configuration. This racetrack typically indicates you're going to get a lot of high-speed understeer with the nature of the racetrack. What they found was it was a nose that they'd built themselves and had been built too low. It was actually sealing off the air going to the front of the car and ruining the aerodynamics. So they actually switched to a lower downforce setup for the warm-up this morning and found that they had a much better balance on the race car.
Now they're tight. Look at this. Field has made an impression on the margin to Dyson as well as they come up on the back of Dave Murray and the Peterson White Lightning Porsche.
Look at these. The lighter cars really have the straightaway speed on the Audi. The Audi's not able to run.
Field's going for it on the inside. John Field on Chris Dyson. Gets it.
Got it done perfect. And look, he's going to bring, and there was a bump right there. Lehto goes with him. Takes Chris Dyson.
Dyson wants to come back, switches back to the inside. He's not quite close enough. Good hard driving from John Field. He slips through on Dave Murray now. Let's take a look at that again. This is from the onboard shot, and Chris Dyson wants payback. He wants to get by JJ Lehto.
I think he'll do it on the straightaway if I'm correct about the speed of these cars.
Let's take a look at that replay. Off the pass from Lehto.
Right on board, perfectly executed down into 5. Look, this opens just a little bump right there. He did definitely touch, not intentionally, but Chris Dyson wants back by. And I think he's going to be able to do it the straightaway. I think it's going to be quicker.
Field, Lehto, Dyson.
We'll know here in 2 corners when they go up the front straightaway who's got the straightaway speed. And we've got lap cars really holding up John Field a little bit right there.
Come past the 44 of Lonnie Pechnik. That's one of 2 Flying Lizard Porsches. So it's a Lola Judd leading the Audi R8. And then Chris Dyson in the Lola AER. This is pretty interesting stuff. We give you our class leaders as we go to the break. And we thoroughly enjoyed the flyover, the 4 F-16s earlier today. Tonight on Speed at 9 p.m. Eastern, the latest round of the FIA World Rally Championship. It is Rally Germany tonight at 9 Eastern, right here on Speed. Welcome back to Road America. This battle continues, and JJ Lehto really has been the comeback king this year. Portland was very eventful for him, and let's enjoy those moments one more time. Scrapping for the lead. Well, in fact, he was in the lead when he came in contact with Tim Sugden. As they spun off the track, he got back on track, then wanted to fight with Leitzinger. Leitzinger spun. IMSA decided he needed a stop and go for that. He came back time after time. Then he finally caught Chris Dyson. Then he spun himself. So for the third time, he had to come back through the field. Then he got hit from behind. Boy, oh boy. And it oh, look at this. Has there been contact? You kind of think so, don't you?
Well, that's turn 5 again in the brake zone down there. It happens a lot. Big old smoky burnout as he gets going.
Now, let's take a look at what happened between John Field and JJ Lehto down in turn 5.
We can't get away with anything anymore, not with all the cameras we have. We'll see right here.
Well, there you go.
Actually, no, he's got in trouble by himself, locks up a rear brake, gets on the outside in the gravel and spins. JJ had nothing to do with that. Just a mistake.
So that was the easy passage through for JJ.
Certainly was.
He now moves into second, and then we begin to monitor the lead margin for Butch Leitzinger. Can he whittle it away? It is 16 seconds. Can you believe that? As John Field gets back up to full speed, let's have the onboard view.
You see the tire smoke right there, locks a left rear and just keeps the wheel straight, which is smart, but then got to the outside too far and spins. JJ, I know what JJ's thinking. That'll teach you.
Back on track. So John Field now, he has to play catch up. And each time we'll keep you up to date with the margin between first and second. Butch Leitzinger for Dyson Racing is the race leader over Lehto, Chris Dyson and John Field, the 4 cars in our Prototype 1 category. In GT, let's bring you up to date. It's still Alex Job Racing 1 and 2. And it's not the case anymore.
Oh, not anymore.
Now Mark Lieb slips up the inside of Jörg Bergmeister.
Jörg got off too wide, got on the outside, got stuck in the gravel trap. Luckily didn't get stuck there. It's all Lieb needed.
So he slips through. A rare error from Jörg Bergmeister. And I was about to say back in third place. At the moment, it is the New Century Mortgage Racers Group car with Patrick Long, but it was the Panos of David Salins. He had a good early part of this race.
Yeah, unfortunately, he was getting lapped by JJ Lehto down in turn 3, and JJ kind of forced him to the outside of the racetrack and slid a little bit wide and paid the price. Right here, there's the mistake again. You get out too far, get in that gravel trap, usually you're stuck. At least he got out of that.
It's a real hot spot, turn 5.
It is. Well, you're coming from top speed of the car, and you really got to get the thing slowed down. It's one of the slower corners on the racetrack. And it's a great overtaking place, like I said, but if you lock up a brake on that downhill run, you're definitely going to go on straight.
Mark Lieb and Romar Dumar. Last time the American Le Mans Series was on Speed, they were victorious at Portland International Raceway. As we ride now with the young American, Patrick Long, the New Century Mortgage Racers Group Porsche. Patrick is hustling as hard as he can. He's got 6.5 seconds to make up on Bergmeister and Lieb. And these guys overdue for a podium. Boy, they've been working hard for 4ths and 5ths. It's been I don't want to say a trying year, but they've had to put so much effort. They have put so much effort into it. To not be rewarded with a podium yet has been somewhat frustrating. Chris Dyson is in the pits.
And he's in here with an engine problem. They're going to do some servicing first. You see the refueling going in. They may change tires, but the most important thing is they need to get the hood off the back of that car and investigate what seems to be a lack of boost. This little turbocharged engine will not have a lot of power unless they can get this boost problem fixed.
Chris talking to his crew chief right there about the tap. They're going to be looking for a pipe, a turbo pipe that's come loose, or a connection. Without that turbochargers making boost, this engine puts out very little horsepower.
The header at the cowbell.
We believe there's something with the head. As Chris mentioned, the fact he got tapped, there's no real damage to the bodywork, but it can certainly shake something loose, and maybe that got to the headers. Randall Kelsey is the crew chief on this car. They're trying to
change the exhaust header.
That's going to be a lengthy repair. The exhaust header, what that does.
How bad is it? I can't see the crack. Is it a cracker? Did it split right in half? It's behind. It's the wastegate, I think. It's the wastegate.
This is the wastegate. It's behind this. It's behind the clamp. Right. Okay.
Let's take it to the truck and see if we can get it back in the chute.
Well, in any event, they're going to have to put that behind the wall. The way a turbocharger works is it takes the exhaust gases coming off the headers and to spin the turbine up, and it's broken something where the turbocharger itself is not getting the exhaust gas any longer, and so far no more boost. So it's a lengthy repair, I can tell you that. It's not easy. Plus it's 1100 degrees, so it's pretty hot.
Absolutely flat. Now it looks like the cowbell part before the waste part of the wastegate.
And while these guys go to work, problems out on track for Clint Field in the Intersport Lola. Let's have a look at this, and this is turn 5 again, and he's just...
He didn't even try to make that corner. He just went straight on, so he's got some sort of problem. This cuts around. Where he's going right now is going back toward the pit straightaway, so he's got some sort of a failure that he feels he couldn't finish the lap.
Cal, do you have more on that?
Yeah, I just checked in with Mike Johnson, the crew chief on the 30 machine. It seems like he's broken the throttle cable. So if he is in the runoff to turn 5, maybe they can make the shortcut back to the paddock area.
That's where he was heading.
Yeah, Calvin, that's what he's done. He's cut through down there, turn 5, and he's coming up the backside.
All right, race leader Butch Leitzinger, his lead, his 16-second lead has been whittled away to 11 seconds. So Lehto is coming, and P2, wow, it's been tough today, Brian.
Absolutely, it has. Brian Willman has brought his pill beam chassis in. They had some problems with this car. They've had problems with it all year long. The team doing a good job just to get it out on the track. And I spoke with Jeff Bucknam earlier today, and he said what it amounts to is the chassis has just gone past its useful life. It's flexing too much. It's damaging engines, suspension pickup points and stuff, to the point that they will rent a car from Miracle Motorsports and actually run it underneath their banner. The Lola that you see out on track today, this team, Team Bucknam, will rent that car and run it in the last 2 races of the year. They need a new tool underneath them, a new horse, if you will, so that they can compete, guys.
And what's been happening is that chassis is actually flexing so hard and twisting so much that the engine is a stress member. In other words, the block of the engine is hooked to the chassis flexes, and it pulls the block completely apart, and they're ruining all their engines this way.
Updating on the Dyson situation to add insult to injury. They had too many people working on the car in pit lane. They'll serve a 1-minute penalty when they return to the track. Quick break from Road America. Stay with us. More of the Road America 500 when we return.
Here we are in beautiful Milwaukee, and I've been bestowed the huge honor of the potential of embarrassing myself in front of 40,000 people, and I'm praying that you have some advice for me.
What are you going to go for? You going for style, or are you going to go for show?
Well, you know, I race cars, so I got to go for heat, don't I? I mean, it's all about
let's
speed.
Not forget the Louis T on then.
All right, so cross the seams, right?
There you go.
There we go, just like that.
There you go.
And just bear down.
Yep, that's right. Down in here.
Watch it catch her all the way.
That's right.
All right, man.
Focus in on, just like driving, you focus in on what you're going to do.
That's it.
All right, now that he's gone, $50 says he shorts arm.
Now enters the mound for our first ceremonial pitch.
A little high, Johnny.
And Johnny's not a man.
We got a really good car, so.
And of course, that is our reigning ALMS GTS co-champion Johnny O'Connell throwing out the first pitch at Brewers Field in their recent game against the Cubs, and he thoroughly enjoyed it. Johnny had a ball. I said to him the other day when we were calling a Star Mazda race, were you nervous? Were you nervous, Johnny? And he said, what do you think in front of 40,000 people? I said,
yeah.
He said, all I wanted to do was just get it to the catcher, you know. Not embarrass myself.
You think it's a simple thing like just throwing the ball down to the catcher, but it's more than that when you're nervous. Like, he at least got it.
Back with the action here, and there is a chase on like you wouldn't believe. JJ Lehto is flying. Butch Leitzinger has done a very good job out front in the Prototype 1 class. He leads his class and the race, and he's done a brilliant job so far. And let's catch up with his teammate. He's with Calvin.
Down here with James Weaver, certainly getting a rub down before he gets in the car this week. Is it old age or stress, mate?
No, just extremely pleasant, mate. It's a bit dull watching the car sat in pit lane, so luckily Ali's taken my mind off it.
Talk about driving the car here. You run a very low downforce configuration on the race car, and you spoke the other day about how scary the car was, even in a straight line.
I wouldn't say scary, but it just moves around a lot. We take all the downforce off, particularly when it's very, very windy like this. The wind's coming through the trees. The car does move around a lot. So you just got to be very careful, particularly out of the kink down to Canada Corner.
I know you've been working hard with the tyres. Good, you've come up with the great compound this year, the 367. But I know you've been working on playing with the cambers, trying to get a better footprint with this low downforce.
Yeah, I think we could run a little bit more camber on the back, perhaps, for the fast corners, but we've got good traction, so we're just running the car trimmed out. So hopefully the track will rubber in, and we'll be dead on the money for the last 45 minutes.
That's when you get in, I assume.
Hopefully, when the car's better, yes.
All right, mate, back to you, Lee.
Things going well for one of the two Dyson cars, leading the way in Prototype 1 and the race overall, but JJ Lehto will be with him shortly. You get that feeling.
And look at the wing on the back of the Dyson car, and it is absolutely dead flat. No wicker bill to add downforce. They've got it trimmed out just as fast as that car can run down the straightaways here.
That's Prototype 1 class leading car. In Prototype 2, it's Ian James, the championship leader. And we've seen the Team Bucknam car with problems. We have seen Clint Field, the Intersport car, with problems, and that really helps Ian James. There he is right in front of our GTS class leading car.
When you can, give us a balance report. Balance of the car.
Team communications there to Olivier Beretta, and let's catch up with his co-driver. He's with Brian.
Well, that's right. He's actually has a new co-driver this weekend. It looks like Elvis has been found here in Wisconsin, guys. Actually, Oliver, you guys have done a great job all year long. 6 pole positions, but only 2 victories. Does that kind of stick in your craw and make you even that much more hungry for a victory?
Well, maybe, I suppose, a little bit, but it's always close between the 3 and the 4 car. All the boys here at GM Racing and Pratt & Miller have done a great job this weekend. The Copyware Chevrolet Corvette is running fantastically well. You know, it's going to be a tight, close race for the whole 2 hours, 45 minutes, but I think it will come down to pit stops and having a good strategy, keeping clean in traffic, and keeping the bosses here happy.
Yeah, definitely keeping the bosses happy. Doug Feehan sitting beside him. He wants to make sure 2 Corvettes finish this race, guys.
Well, Olivia Beretta is a little bit miffed at Ian James right there. You see him flashing the headlights on the Corvette off and on, so he's feeling that he's being held up somewhat.
44, Lonnie Pechnik has put it out.
Lucky boy there.
Canada Corner.
Yeah, he's lucky he didn't get that thing stuck, so he's on his way again.
Incidentally, the sister car to that one, the 45 of Darren Law, he's flying on track. He started right at the back of the field, changing tires, and he has now got his way up to 5th in class. Let's take a look at what happened to Lonnie Pechnik.
Down into Canada, you see the wiggle from the back, a little bit too much rear brake bias, and it just swaps ends. Like I say, lucky that he got stuck right where he did.
Able to get going again and back out at it. P2 leader is Ian James, still ahead of the 4 of Olivier Beretta.
That's all 3 class leaders right in a row is what you've got there.
Yeah. And Ian has done a really good job this weekend in this brand new car.
Look, here comes.
Now he points Beretta by.
Yeah, Beretta's been flashing his lights and on and off and on and off and saying, come on, let me go.
Our Prototype 2.
Oh, here goes the Audi.
Point leader sees JJ Lehto whip on by. The chase is still on, and updating you, it's down to 5 seconds. We'll keep a very close eye on that for you, but Lehto, it won't be long before he is with Butch Leitzinger. Let's talk more about Miracle Motorsports. Here's Calvin.
Well, down here with another driver who looks very relaxed, and that's James Guay. He's going to be jumping in the number 10 machine. Talk about the experience driving this garage for the first time this weekend, mate.
So far, it's been a pretty awesome experience. I mean, the car is just really amazing. Compared to what we've been driving, the little Lola earlier in the year, I mean, it's got the braking, the downforce, the power, just everything is just so much nicer about the car. And obviously, it's much quicker in a straight line here.
Any kind of gamble, do you believe, the team bringing that car in? I mean, you got to this point in the championship through reliability, and then you throw a whole new curveball at things with a brand new race car with just 3 races to go.
Yeah, it was a bit of a gamble. That's why the owner, John Macaluso, decided to run the second car, just in case we had some issues with this. But I mean, this car, it finished a 6-hour race just a week ago, and obviously did very well over there, winning. So we weren't too concerned about it, but obviously there were a few variables, like a different tire that we hadn't really run on before. So it was a bit of a gamble, but I think so far so good.
James, good luck. And ironically, as we sit here, the number 11 car is in pit lane, the car that has had great reliability. They have some kind of steering issue, Lee.
And Mike Borkowski is sharing that car this weekend, and he's been enjoying being back in a prototype. Last time he was there, we saw him, was at Sebring earlier this year.
I actually don't think that that's much of a risk to take it all to get this garage and run it for the first time, because after all, that car was built to run at Le Mans. It's built with a very low, slippery profile, so it goes very quick on straightaways. This racetrack is perfect for that, and it won at Silverstone last week, as we documented. So it's a great race car. I don't think it's just a matter of the drivers getting used to it, and obviously the car is really good.
Updating you on 3 of our classes. Now let's get to our 4th class, and in GT, it's still the Alex Job Racing machines up front. Mark Lieb in the 24 leads the sister car of Jörg Bergmeister. And third is still the new Century machine of Patrick Long. And let's catch up with Lieb's co-driver. Romain Dumas is with Brian.
Well, Romain Dumas, probably one of the most interested spectators down here in pit lane, watching Mark make up for probably a very disappointing finish for you guys at Mosport. But you want to get back to Portland for him. Do you have the car? You had to be amazed by the lap that Jörg put in yesterday.
Yeah, well, the lap time of Jörg yesterday in qualifying was really good, sure, but Mark wasn't on the top yesterday in qualify, and we can see now it's a great fight between both cars, and I think it's a good fun, and we will see now the rest of the race. It's again 2 hours, and it will be really hard tough between us.
Yeah, they'll definitely try and fight hard out there, just like they did in Portland. Romain Dumas and Mark Lieb scored their first victory there. They liked the taste of champagne. They want it again, Lee.
It's Dumas' first time here to Road America, and he said yesterday it reminds him of Spa. Great racetrack. And just updating you too, we've heard some news from race control that the 30, the Chris Dyson Andy Wallace car, has been excluded. The 30, my apologies, the 30 car of Clint Field has been excluded from the event, and we will update you with more on that when we return to Road America as the 500 continues, and Lehto is now only 1.5 seconds back. Right here on Speed, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series continues. The O'Reilly 200 presented by Valvoline Max Life from Bristol, Wednesday at 9, and that is live. Back at Road America and back at the front of the field, JJ Lehto has been working overtime to catch race leader Butch Leitzinger.
No more overtime involved. He's caught him. He's right there. He's running a second a lap, sometimes more than that, faster than Butch Leitzinger's able to run. Butch is running 155s. JJ's running 154s.
63 is on pit road. Brian, tell us more.
Terry Borcheller has brought the Saleen in. It looked like it was going to be a routine stop, but they're having a lengthy conversation on the radio. All kinds of problems with this car yesterday. They had to change the entire brake system because they had a vibration that they could not find the cause of. They changed the entire brake system. It seemed to go away. That was one of the reasons for their bad qualifying. Another reason could be Terry Borcheller has a very sore foot. In practicing pit stops yesterday, as he was getting out of the car, they dropped the car off the air jacks onto his left foot. That left foot is very sore, and Borcheller right now really having a conversation, a very intense conversation. You can tell by his hand motions inside the car with Jim Bell. Hopefully all is right with this Saleen.
They finish up, just bringing you up to date with more news on the Clint Field Robin Liddell situation. Allegedly they were working on the car on that back road back into the paddock, Dorsey, and you're not allowed to do that.
Right. Well, we saw Clint Field go down there off of turn 5, and he tried to make it through the chicane. And I guess they went down to the car to fix the throttle linkage, and here almost a pass for the lead right there.
Battle at the front, hots up. JJ Lehto versus Butch Leitzinger, Dyson versus champion. And we said right at the top of the show that the 16 of Leitzinger and Weaver need to win today to stay in this championship fight and really apply the pressure to Lehto and Werner, and that's exactly what they're doing. Tremendous run so far.
Butch Leitzinger responds with a 1:54.9, his quickest race lap so far. The Audi at a 54.8, just a 10th quicker that time. Catching up with someone is one thing. Now getting by is another. Because of the differences in the two cars, you can break the momentum. And the Audi will be in dirty air. That Lola puts out a lot of air from behind it.
With more on the 16, here's Calvin.
It's actually on the 20, Lee. They've actually effected a repair on the 20 machine. This is the tiny little wastegate. What had happened, supposedly, is that the 37 car had hit Chris Dyson in the rear, hitting the tailpipe. That's then connected to this wastegate, and you can see here where it's actually fractured around. He also destroyed the anti-roll bar. This is the bit that controls the suspension sway between the two sides of the race car, so they had to fix this as well. So certainly a lot of problems, but he is back on track, and he needs those valuable championship points for his teammate, Andy Wallace. Let's go down to Brian Tell.
We saw the Saleen in, it has gone back out. I checked with Jim Bell about the conversation he and Terry Borcheller were having. It seems the vibration problem that we spoke of during the stop is back. When the car got hot yesterday, that's when the vibration picked up, and that's exactly what we've seen today. They don't know what it is. As we said, they changed the entire braking system. That obviously was not the problem. Not a happy race car, especially on this very high-speed circuit.
That's a good point, Brian. You're running around here at 180 miles an hour, and vibrations always give you indication that things are not going to fix themselves. Vibrations are a clue to something bad going wrong. It needs to be addressed right away.
And as a result of that stop, they have handed over third place in the GTS category to the car sport team. Jean-Philippe Belloc has moved into that top 3 spot. It's still Beretta and Fellows 1 and 2 in GTS. And Olivier Beretta has a 7-second lead over Ron Fellows at the moment.
So you see how fragile that the little prototype cars that Dyson runs are. That hit that it took from the Audi was not much of a hit at all, but it hit right on the tailpipe, right on the exhaust pipe, and it fractured that wastegate, which takes all the boost away and all the power.
In GT, been a thrilling run today, as well as the 2 Alex Joe cars going hard at it. This young man, Patrick Long, has had a wonderful run. He maintains his 3rd spot. Sasha Masno for BAM. Coming in, teaming up with Leo Hendry. He's, Mark Lieber's spun.
Big spin. You see the marks right there. That's in a very fast portion of the racetrack.
GT class leader, or he was.
Just when he went over the curve.
And that's communication from Jörg Bergmeister. Here's what happened.
Well, something on that car broke. You see that? Off to the side there. Off to the side there was a piece of, I think it might have broken a brake rotor. That's down in turn 3. He broke really hard and something came off the car. Something broke on that car.
Now Mark will not be able to get going again, and this more than likely will bring out a full course caution. He's in a bit of a hairy position. He's trying to get going again.
We're hearing that maybe that was a drive shaft that broke. The rear axle broke. Possibility there. Something definitely snapped, and you could see a big hunk of metal. Well, that
gets himself out of danger there.
Yeah, I think the other.
Wow.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Now, Chris Dyson has come in to serve his 1-minute penalty. And now it will not start.
Something burned up. He's smelling some bad. Oh, look at yeah, look at here. Left rear axle or something's crashed out of that car. You saw it right on the brake, right when it got on the brake. Something flew out. I think it's the left rear axle is giving up the ghost.
Let's have a look at the replay of that again, and Dorsey talk us through where he broke very aggressively sideways.
Watch up here. This you see a little smoke, and that's indicating there it snaps right now. And here goes the piece over there, landing in the weeds. That's a scary crash when you have something break like that at 40 or 50 miles an hour right there. Wow, this is going to be a lot of damage by the time he gets around this 4-mile circuit and back to the pit lane.
Since their victory at Portland, this has been a very trying time for the 24 team. Let's get down to the pits. Here's Cal.
I'm here with Alex Job, and Alex, you had a chance to look at the monitor. Any clue as to what may have broken on the race car?
We're not sure. Something broke in the left rear suspension, it appears. The wheel's cocked on an angle. He's trying to drive it in.
Okay, Well, we're going to try and get back here and effecting a repair, and we understand the number 20 car has been in the penalty box. That was for having too many crew members over the wall, affecting that repair on the wastegate.
Well, to make matters worse, Chris Dyson has come down to the penalty box to serve that penalty. The car began to overheat, a lot of smoke out of the back end. He had to shut it down, and now the car will not restart. We heard him on the radio a moment ago saying, I've recycled the ignition and everything else. It turns over, but it will not fire, so their problems continue. Not a good day for the Dyson team. Lee?
Speaking of prototypes, Butch Leitzinger still maintains the lead. Yes, he's holding JJ Lehto off. He's got about a second over him at the moment, and John Field still stays in third. Here we are, back with the race for the lead. And nobody else has led this race other than Butch Leitzinger.
Interesting to note that JJ Lehto was over 2 seconds a lap quicker than Butch until he caught him. Now he's running exactly the same pace, and that's what I'm talking about, momentum around it here. Once you get to the back of another car, it just knocks all your wind out of your sails.
The Dyson Lola AER is flying.
Butch is on a rampage right now.
See third and fourth in GT there. Patrick Long, Sasha Masson. Drivers getting ready. Pit stops coming up shortly. Back with the Road America 500, and at the front, still Leitzinger over JJ Lehto. And Butch has responded and is doing a nice job up front. But let's get down to the pits and get an update from the Panos area with Brian Till.
Lee, the Panos car running very well this weekend. They had some problems with traffic out on the racetrack, but the biggest problem when they came in was the fact that David Salin's cool suit was not working. He got out of the car under his own power, but then collapsed. The medics were here. They started IVs and have given him oxygen. He told the crew guys, I'm okay, but they're going to transport him to make sure. Overheating is something he had a problem with in Miami last year, and when the cool suits don't work, it's almost like putting a baked potato in foil in the oven. You get more hot than if you didn't have the cool suit on at all.
And it tells you a lot about how hot that inside of that car is, because it is not by any means a hot day here at Road America. It's only somewhat 70 degrees, so inside there should be really hot.
38's in, Calvin.
They're in, and JJ Lehto is going to stay behind the wheel and do a double stint. Looks like they're going to certainly change left side tires. They've been working hard this weekend with the Michelin tire engineers, actually trying some new tire compounds. They realize that the battle is on with the Dyson car. They need to up their ante. Now, typically, they'll only change tires when there's a driver change, so they need tires. And this is a bit of a surprise. We're so used to seeing these Michelin tires double and even triple stint. But now when the pace is what it is, they're using up the tires. They're doing left sides only, it looks like, and they'll send JJ on his way.
Explain that decision, Dorsey.
Well, I'll tell you what, the long straightaways here dictate that you're going to cool the tires a lot. You can go with a really soft compound. The problem is when you get down to what we call the carousel and the kink. They're both right-hand corners. The carousel has very long duration. You're in the corner leaned over quite hard for a long time, and it superheats the left side tires to the degree that you can't run that compound without risking blistering in that section of the racetrack.
JJ rejoins the circuit just ahead of Duncan Dayton.
See him waving right there. He says, I'm on cold tires. You know, he's letting him know right now that I've just come out of the pits. I'm on cold tires. I don't have the grip right now, so watch it. Don't hit me again.
Olivier Beretta in the Corvette in GTS, the class leader, moves up to third overall, courtesy of the Intersport stop. John Field handing over to Duncan Dayton.
This Audi will take about a half a lap to start getting some grip. You see right there, he was very cautious in turn 5, making sure not to lighten the tires up too much and spin the car. It's easy to do for the first half of the lap.
And let's get an update on the 24, the Alex Job car. Calvin's there.
Well, the team goes to work. You can see a lot of damage to this left rear corner. We saw the spin from Mark Lieb. We understand the lower control arm has broken. It has then tore up some other suspension pieces as he part of the roll bar actually disconnected in there. So this is probably going to be a lengthy repair to get that changed and get the boys back out in the championship chase. This car has not had the luck this year. I believe they've had like 3 DNS or 3 poor results that have really taken them out of the championship charge, but they are always fast.
Alex Job team working hard. Feel for Mark Lieb and Romain Dumas. Tough break for them at Mo Sport when Mark crashed, and then Dumas got behind the wheel and drove exceptionally well to bring it as high up as he could, and the problems here while leading watch JJ Lehto, second place in the ADT champion Audi. It really is a champion versus Dyson battle here today, and it rages here at Road America. Back at Road America, first hour down in this 2 3/4 hour. And poleman Butch Leitzinger got a great start. And it was a frantic opening lap. John Field, minor contact with JJ Lehto, but it was enough to send the Finn around. Then he was very aggressive on the inside, got through on Chris Dyson. JJ Lehto also got way through. Then John Field spun all by himself while being pursued by JJ Lehto after the champion driver played catch-up. In GT, it's been Alex Job Racing, 1 and 2. Bergmeister led early, but he ran wide, and that opened up the door for Mark Lee. Clint Field ran into problems. Broken throttle cable, tried to get back, and the team worked on that car in an illegal area. Problems too for Team Bucknam Racing, but it's been a beautiful run for the new Courage for Miracle Motorsport, Ian James and James Gouet. Problems though for Dyson. Chris Dyson, after running well in the top 3, they got that car finally going again, and whilst leading Mark Lee, problems for him, broken rear suspension part, and that sent him spinning around in a long, long journey back to pit road. Calvin.
16 car was on pit road. It looked like a routine stop, and then Butch struggled to get it fired up, and now he's struggling to get it underway. Remember, we've seen this in the past. The fuel rail gets a vapor lock, and it gets very hard for these drivers to just get the car moving. He's underway, he should be okay now.
And as you can see, JJ Lehto went in the first gear. JJ Lehto went whipping by.
Trouble on the Dyson car. You hear Butch Leitzinger saying that it can't get the motor to run, can't get it cleared out.
Calvin.
The leader in GTS is in, and it's going to be Ollie Gavin taking over from Olivier Beretta. This team are just working hard against one another. They realize right now in GTS they don't have the strongest competition in numbers, but they're working really hard just to keep up in their game, looking to head next year and seeing some really fast competition in GTS. So right now these boys, they're looking for their 3rd victory of the season. Looks like a routine stop down here, Lee.
The Corvette boys do it so well. Ollie Gavin now strapped in and ready to go. And make no mistake, they want to beat their sister car of Johnny O'Connell and Ron Fellows.
These crew guys that Doug Feenhan has put together for this Corvette team are the best of the best. They came from years of IMSA experience, years of Trans Am experience. All of those guys at one time or another were either on the Roush team or were on one of the top GM teams. They have worked together for 2 decades, I would say now.
The 4 back out on track. And we will watch this Corvette battle with much interest today, as Johnny O'Connell is now behind the wheel of the 3, Gavin behind the 4. So new race leader, JJ Lehto for ADT champion Audi. And we'll see if Butch Leitzinger can now play the catch-up game. He led very, very well from start to the point that he pitted. We'll see what he can come up with. In GT land, the 23 of Jörg Bergmeister, the poleman who he did a brilliant job yesterday in qualifying. He leads the way over the New Century Mortgage car. Patrick Long is zeroing in, and so too is Sasha Masson in the BAM Porsche, 2nd and 3rd in class, chasing the German down. More on the Alex Job Racing situation from the 24 car, and the man who was behind the wheel, Mark Lieb, is with Cal.
Well, Mark is just pulling his overalls up, and Mark, scary moment there going down into turn 3. Did you have any indication there was a problem before that?
No, nothing. The car was running really perfect. It was really good fight with Jörg. It was really a lot of fun. And I was going into turn 1, was going over the curb, and then suddenly the suspension broke. So it's really bad luck. I don't know what to say more. I mean, finally we had a good run again, and so every time something happens, I mean, it's just amazing.
Every time you get in the lead, it seems like something goes wrong. Talk about Mosport. You had the problem there. Hang on, we're going to break that up and go down to Brian with the 16 car.
Calvin, Mark Leaf talked about bad luck. Well, I think it's come down here to Dyson Racing. Butch Leitzinger is back in. We saw him have problems get the car started and away, and we heard him on the radio say it hasn't cleaned out. He had to go 4 miles around the racetrack, and when it did come into pit lane, it sounded absolutely horrible. These guys looking around in the engine compartment to see if they can determine the problem. But these long Road America straightaways really take their toll on these little power plants, guys.
Header to feed to the wastegate.
Sounds like it's the same problem. They've got a broken header down by the wastegate. I just heard a mechanic say. Same thing that's wrong with Chris Dyson. Chris thought maybe because he was in an accident and got hit. But this is the same breakage, it sounds like.
Boy, oh boy. What a frustrating day. Frustration in the Dyson camp. First the 20, now the 16. Incidentally, Chris Dyson in the 20 is back in 20th position.
Well, that's a lengthy repair. Like I say, you got to pull the exhaust headers off, you got to pull the wastegate off. All those are hot parts, and you have to replace them also. They're not going to win today.
So while it was tough going early for JJ Lehto in the ADT champion Audi, it's smooth running now, and that looks like day done as Rob Dyson shakes the hand of Butch Leitzinger and says, well done for your work earlier. But it's all over for now. Quick break. Stay with us. More from Road America in a few moments. Speed Channel's coverage of the Road America 500 is brought to you by Aquavelva. Aquavelva keeps your face toned and fit. There's something about an Aquavelva man. And by Audi. In technology, performance, and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow. Welcome back to Road America. JJ Lehto is your race leader. He is the championship leader. But he's never won an American Le Mans Series title. This year could be his year. And the pressure is on as far as the number 20 and Chris Dyson, Andy Wallace, as far as getting championship points today.
See him there going by the P2 class leader. Brian?
Down here with Rob Dyson and Butch Leitzinger. Rob, both cars' problems today after running so well. Mosport must seem like a long time ago. Was it the same problem on both cars?
No, it wasn't, but it was about the same, ironically. In Chris's case, he checked up in one of the corners and John Fields tapped him. Racing, you know, just a racing mistake. It jarred the exhaust system and popped his flange bolt that held on the wastegate, causing he had to replace the wastegate. That caused a couple of small problems that are maladies that he'll get. I mean, the car's running and running fine. In Butch's case, we got a cracked header, and he was running along, and apparently the car just kind of fizzled out on him. When you have a turbo car, you've got to have you can't have any alteration or any flaw in the whole intake exhaust system. Otherwise, it creates all sorts of overloads, either on the turbo or on the engine. Butch can tell you more. He'll tell you what it feels like.
Well, Butch, I know it had to feel bad when it went, but to have the front row for you guys here and to take it to the Audis once again really has to give you hope every time you come to the racetrack, because you know you got a pony that'll do it.
Oh yeah, the car's been incredibly fast. Yeah, we keep breaking new things. This one was pretty odd. Apparently it's a brand new header, and it was fine until the pit stop, and then it wouldn't leave the pits. It must have cracked actually coming in on the pit lane speed limiter. So I don't really know what that's about. But I mean, it is disappointing, but at least we're giving them a fight, and we'll keep doing it.
Well, they certainly will keep doing it. Rob Dyson has said, hey, I'm not going to be a follower. I'm not going to buy an Audi. I like these little cars. I'm a hot rodder at heart. I like to make things go fast, and they're certainly getting the job done right now.
Well, let's talk more about the Dyson situation. I mentioned earlier the pressure's on for the 20, and the reason I said that is that particularly for Andy Wallace, they need to finish, and they need to complete 70% of what this guy does. If JJ Lehto and Marco Verno go on to win this race, which it looks like they will, they need to complete 70% to get points, because if they don't, these guys can clinch the title today. So the 20 still needs to perform. You just heard Rob Dyson say that it, you know, they should be able to get going okay. So fingers crossed for them.
It's a tough situation to be in. You're sitting there with a broke-down race car trying to get it fixed, and you got to be within 70% of this lead car. And like you say, though, that this race is certainly not over yet, and the 38 could run into trouble too.
Time now to welcome the unofficial mayor of Elkhart Lake, Speed Channel's own David Hobbs, who was a legend in these areas. Great to see you, David. Thanks for coming out.
It's good to be here, of course. Always loved racing at Road America. Just a spectacular course for a driver. And of course, it's one of the best viewing circuits in the USA because it's big, over 4 mile lap. There's your third place GT car coming in for the pit stop.
Sasha Masson has done a stunning job early on. You see Leo Hendry right there, set to take over from him. The German steps from the car, and now it's Leo's turn. And Masson had a great run with Patrick Long as they were trying to hunt down Jörg Bergmeister, who still leads the GT class. Brian Till.
Well, a routine stop down here for the BAM guys. Leo Hendry will be getting in the car, and what a great team. He loves driving with Sasha Masson. Sasha was ranked as the #1 Porsche driver in the world, and Leo is taking advantage of that and tries to get him in the seat whenever he can, but he's also taught Sasha a thing or two. Leo being a part of the YES Network that televises the New York Yankees game, they've taught Sasha Masson how to, of all things, spit sunflower seeds like any good baseball player would do. So Sasha teaching Leo about driving race cars, and Leo teaching Sasha Masson about America's favorite pastime, baseball. Lee?
Yeah, I'm not too sure about this spitting habit.
Yeah, we'll have sunflowers growing all over Elkhart next thing we know.
Talk more about this great track, David. I mean, what's your most fond memory of Road America?
Well, the very first time I came here was back in a long time ago, 40 years ago this year. I drove a Lotus Cortina in this race in the 500. And I don't remember what happened. I know we didn't finish, and we stayed at Madison because the lady that booked the room for us from Lotus in England, she just looked at the map of America, and Madison looked pretty close. Well, of course, it's about 80 miles away. But the next time I came, it was Formula 5000. I was on the pole. Unfortunately, it broke on the first lap.
Talk more about the BAM Porsche and the great efforts of Sasha Masson. Brian Till is with him.
Well, Sasha just got out of the car having a drink. Even though it's a cool day, it's still pretty warm in the car. Got to be great fun for you to come over here and run with these guys.
Yeah, I was starting 7th, and I moved up the grid quite fast. Everybody did mistakes, and we had a clear run, a good car, and a great team, I must say. I'm enjoying the week very much, and so far, everything is going well. So I hope we can keep it like this, and I hope Leo has a lot of fun out there, and let's see.
All right, let's get down to Calvin Fish.
Leader in GT is in. Jörg Bergmeister getting out from behind the wheel, and Team Bernard getting in. And the repair has been affected on the 24 car as Romain Dumas and the sister car takes that car back on track. Looks like routine. With a fast pace in GT, we expect to see tyre changes each stop unless there's just a splash at the end. Meanwhile, when the Flying Lizard cars, the number 45 car, is on pit road.
They too have charged through the field. Darren Law did a stunning job. Remember, they started at the back, so
well, I just read the Autosport of a couple of weeks ago, and they had their top 10 Porsche drivers, and Sasha Masson was #1.
Yeah,
and
Brian
Darren Law was number 10.
Yeah. Well, Darren was thrilled just to be in it.
I think so. There's some pretty good names in there.
Yeah. I was talking to Johnny Molam yesterday about that as well. He was about 5th or 6th, and Johnny was pretty pleased to get a mention.
I would still think the best Porsche 911 driver would have been Bob Wallop.
Brian.
It's a routine stop. Johannes van Overbeek will take over from Darren Law. They'll get out. They too took on new tires. No reason to double stint here. Full fuel, fresh tires, and they're gone. And a good pit stop for the guys celebrating down here at Flying Lizard.
I think the GT race today is going to be very, very interesting. Very interesting. We'll see if anyone can catch the flying Alex Job car, not the Flying Lizard car just yet. We will monitor that closely. Lehto leads Prototype 1. James Guay leads Prototype 2. Oliver Gavin leads the GTS class. We'll be back in just a moment. Back at Road America for the Road America 500. JJ Lehto looking for win number 5. Time now, though, to join Calvin Fish with a Michelin Tech Tip.
The Road America racetrack certainly throws up its own unique set of characteristics for the Michelin tire engineers. When you look at the makeup of the racetrack, it's very smooth and non-abrasive, meaning that it really generates relatively low grip. When you think about the configuration of the racetrack, long straightaways allows the tires to cool down between the corners. This means that the Michelin tire engineers would typically advise the teams to go to a much softer tire compound. But when you think about Road America, it throws you a curveball in the form of the carousel turn. Long in duration, fast right-hand turn means that in that one corner alone, you're going to have excessive tire temperatures on the left-hand side of the car. This means they have to compromise things and come up with the best balance, and they do that by coming to the racetrack with many different tire compounds for the teams to choose from. Much the same way as when you visit the Michelin tire store, they'll provide you with the best balance between durability and performance, depending on your everyday driving conditions.
Here he is, JJ Lehto.
And of course that carousel that Calvin was just on about, just immediately after that, of course, is the kink, the dreaded kink, which is the fastest corner here, probably flat out in these very high downforce cars. So you want your tires to be working at their absolute best when you go through the kink. Of course, it's also another right-hander. So here's the carousel, and you've got those nice warm left side tires, and the kink is also a right-hander. And if I remember right, and here is the kink.
These two corners, arguably some of the scariest in all of North America.
Because as you can see, there's not much runoff area there.
No, there is not.
And I seem to remember in 1986, leading this race in the BMW Turbo, and about to lap your next guest, Derek Bell, of course, who was driving with Al Holbert in the Porsche. And our teammate had a huge crash at that very kink.
It's not a good place to have them.
No, it wasn't. Davy Jones wrapped
I remember that. That was a huge crash.
GT class leading car here with Timo Bernard. He's only 4 points behind Darren Moore and Johannes van Overbeek in the championship, for the championship. And today that could all change. And if it goes the way that it's been at the moment, things are looking great for Timo Bernard and Jörg Bergmeister. They sit at the top. The Flying Lizard car with Johannes van Overbeek sits second. That is quite a remarkable performance from those guys to come from the back to second. And Kurt Wagner in the New Century Racers Group Porsche sits third. And speaking of Jörg Bergmeister, he's with Cal.
Jörg, you had a tremendous battle out there today with Mark Lieb. Talk us through that.
Yeah, I just made one little mistake when I was in the lead. I locked up the rear a little bit, so I had quite a big slide on the braking, and he went by. Afterwards, I thought I was a little quicker, but every time when I was really close, I picked up too much understeer through the aerodynamics, and there was no really chance to went by, and then bad luck for him, his suspension broke.
I know you love this racetrack. It reminds you of a pretty famous place over in Germany, correct?
Yes, right. It reminds me a little bit to the Nürburgring Nordschleife. It's just awesome here.
All right, mate. Well, good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks.
Job done, and he did a very good job. Here is the 31 Peterson White Lightning Porsche, the car, well not the very car, but the team car that won here last year. The hands of Johnny Molam and Craig Stanton. The only time in the 2003 season that Alex Job were beaten. Let's join one of their team members, Dave Murray's with Brian.
Well, Lee, indeed they did win here last year. David, you weren't with this team at the time, but it looked like you guys had a good car. Indeed, you guys have led half of the laps in the last two races. What's it going to take to get to victory lane?
I think the circumstances have to be right. You know, it's so competitive. Like I say, you never know who's going to win this race. And the only one I really want to lead is the last lap. It looked really good this one too. I got by one of the Job cars, and then they had a spin in turn 3 in front of us. They slowed down. I got a clear shot and was able to pass the other Job car and take the lead. You know, I also before that passed the Viper between 5 and 6. But then he passed me back after that before Canada. Unfortunately, both of us went in the gravel trap, so it lost a lot of time and got back up. But you know, the car's still okay. We've got a lot of understeer, and I believe a lot of teams have the same thing. The track is very, very slippery.
Well, full course yellow would get you back up to the front. You got money in your pocket. How much would you pay for a full course yellow right now?
As much as it takes. Get your wallet out.
Dave Murray, great guy, good drive too. What a shame.
You can see that rolled up rubber now starting to collect on the track, and that's because these guys are using these soft compound tires, or softer compound tires, because as David Murray says, the track obviously gets very slick here. And you've got these high speeds followed by relatively mid-speed corners, so it's a great track for overtaking, of course, because you have a good straight shot into the turns, and a long break, so it does give some. It's a great spot for overtaking this whole track, but it's
good scrap going on here as Kurt Wagner tries to catch this car, the Flying Lizard Porsche with Johannes van Overbeek, as we go on board our race leader, JJ Lehto. He has a 1-lap margin over Duncan Dayton in the Intersport Lola. That's what's happening at the front of the field.
Look at this carousel, how long you're in the corner. And you see he's wisely staying behind, not trying to make a pass attempt, because he realizes he's got a huge lead right now. There's no need to do anything foolish.
Absolutely, that gave you an idea there. Just how the road to the carousel drops off towards the edge. It falls away, so you've got absolutely no camber working for you going through there at all. So
it's rubber flying down.
Yeah, tons of it around.
It sure is.
I tell you what, you get one of those big lumps of rubber hit the radiator core. Doesn't do it an awful lot.
No windscreen or helmet.
Johannes van Overbeek is some 12 seconds down on GT class leader Timo Bernard, but he's only got 1.5 seconds over this man, Kurt Wagner, in the new Century Mortgage machine.
Kurt can see him up there, so he's really on the hammer right now, trying to get up there to him, the position.
Just been through turn 14 there. That's a corner where you've got to make a really good exit because you've got that great long straight in front of you, the front straight here, and it's steeply uphill, so every RPM you can get squeezed out at turn 14, you're going to carry it all the way down to turn 1, which is, you know, 3/4 mile away.
And the green and gold machine right here, the new Century car, you can't believe how badly these guys, Kurt Wagner, Patrick Long, the All-American lineup, how badly they want a podium in GT. Their results this year, it's been somewhat frustrating. It was an 8th at Sebring, 4th, then 6th, 5th, 5th, 5th. The last 3 races in a row, so they really want to be on the top 3.
Well, their last lap was a 2:13.9, so they're not quite as quick as the car in front of them.
Yeah, they're almost a second lap slow. Of course, that could be traffic too.
Yeah.
Who gets by cleanly, who doesn't?
The second Flying Lizard Porsche sits 4th in class, and 5th is Leo Henry in the Van Porsche. You just never get sick of looking at pictures of this racetrack, do you? The onboard shots or the external shots, it just doesn't matter.
This is down to turn 8 here. This is another great overtaking opportunity before you do this tight left-hander. You see a lot of a lot of overtaking and re-overtaking as people outbrake themselves. Very easy to do into that turn 8, which leads into this carousel again.
Speaking of Flying Lizard, let's hear from Darren Law. He's with Brian.
Well, Darren, qualifying seems to have been the struggle that you guys have had lately. The car runs great in the race. Hard to put your finger on exactly what the problem is for qualifying?
Yeah, we're having some handling problems, and you know, I mean, it's a brand new team, brand new program. We just, I think we started off really strong, and we're having a bit of a struggle sorting the car. But the one thing we do have is it's great in the long run. I mean, we are so steady on lap times. We can hang in there pretty good for a long run.
I know you're leading the championship right now, but that lead seems to be getting smaller. You got to get back to the top step of the podium. You have a car that'll do that today?
I think if it stays green the whole way, we have a car that can do it. It's really a matter of the gap that we have on the 23 car, but hey, we still have a shot at this. A couple races to go, and we're up front right now, so it's good.
Victory at Mid-Ohio for those guys, and they were thrilled with that. They would love to do it again today. We'll find out if they can. The 23 Alex Joe Porsche will take some beating. More driver reactions to this wonderful circuit that is Road America.
The carousel is, the car is loaded so much to the left, and you just never know when it's really going to go away from you. And so you're just kind of hanging on them. You want to go faster. You feel like you can go faster, but you're not quite sure.
If you don't like running around Elkhart Lake, Road America, you shouldn't be driving race cars, because it is, it's amazing. You've got fast corners, slow corners. You've got the Kink, which is one of the coolest corners in racing.
One of the best tracks in the U.S. It's fast. You really have to suck it up, and I mean, you have to have a car that's spot on to get around here quick.
Welcome back. You're watching the Road America 500 here on Speed, round 7 of the American Le Mans Series. Beautiful day here in Wisconsin at Elkhart Lake. And the fans enjoying sports car racing with the American Le Mans Series. And there is one of the best guys in the business, JJ Lehto for ADT champion Audi, yet to hand over to his teammate Marco Werner, the reigning P1 champion. and he will enjoy his run. And they're doing it pretty easy up front, Dorsey. 1 lap the margin from between these guys and Duncan Dayton.
He's got a 1 lap lead, but on top of that, he's running some 2 seconds a lap quicker anyway than the second place Duncan Dayton automobile. So JJ's not really on cruise control, but he's not taking any chances either.
Staying with prototypes from the 1 class to the 2 class. Prototype 2, and Ian James and James Gouet have led the entire way. James Gouet is now behind the wheel of this new Courage. Remember this from Le Mans, David? This was the one that we saw Jean-Marc Gounon in.
Absolutely, yes. Good looking car too.
That car won last week at Silverstone, and they shipped the darn thing over here. Got it here by Wednesday, and with today, with all the security and all of the stuff at the airports, they can't even get me there on time.
That's pretty good.
I don't know how they got the car there.
Well, I mentioned earlier, if you've just joined us, there's been some pretty interesting things happening in the Prototype 2 class. The championship challengers, Clint Field, in the 30, had a problem out on track, left the circuit, tried to get back, and on an access road, the team worked on the car, and you're not allowed to do that. They've been excluded from the event, and that basically eliminates them from the title chase with Ian James. So things are looking good for the Englishman, and Ian James is with Cal.
Ian, if things roll the way they are today, you're on the cusp of your first professional championship here. Talk about the season. It's really been a breakthrough year for you in particular.
Yeah, I mean, I must say this year, I've had 3 great rides in 3 different series, and we're in with a shot of all 3 championships still. So, but this one means a lot to me because this is a real high-level championship.
I know you got to this point through sheer reliability. You had the win at Sebring along with another one this season, but switching to the Courage was certainly rolling the dice a little bit, but you're very excited about these last few races.
Very excited. I mean, this is the first sprint race we could really push the 30 car, and it's broken twice now over the weekend because they're really stressing it out. So thanks to John Macaluso, we've got a real shot for 3 wins at the end of the year.
All right, Ian, we'll keep our fingers crossed the rest of the way for you.
Thanks, Calvin.
Really pleased for Ian James. He's having the year of his career, no doubt about that. And congratulations to this man, John Macaluso, for, well, the huge investment and the risk and the challenge of taking on a new car and financing the whole thing. And they've had a few teething problems down there this weekend, but he will be delighted to see that car in the lead in the Prototype 2 class. John, at the moment, he sits second in class, but he is well down the order in 18th place at the moment after taking over from Mike Borkowski.
It's such a gratifying experience as a driver like Ian, that you get a proper car after driving one that's not really as good a car, and he steps up and you get a car like this beautiful Courage. It's the best thing that can happen to you. It's like Christmas forever.
And John, rightly so, being the owner, took the first 2 laps in the brand new Courage, even though he's racing this car this weekend, so he enjoyed that. We need to squeeze in a quick break. We want to say thanks to David Hobbs. Good to see you, mate.
Thank you. Always good to be here with you and Dorsey Schrader.
Tuesday nights on Speed, check out Nopi Tuner Vision, 7:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific. It's not just a drag racing series, it's a tuner lifestyle event. One of the new shows on the network, 7:30 Eastern, Tuesday nights, right here on Speed. Back at Elkhart Lake, Road America, one of the great circuits on our schedule. And the ADT champion Audi of JJ Lehto, well and truly in command at the front of this race. The 37 machine of Duncan Dayton, John Field, have been in the thick of it today as well. Still runs second, however now are some 3 laps down on the race leading car.
It just gets me every time you look at the compression. When he gets on the brake, how he just shrinks down into the bottom of the cockpit there.
Updating you on GTS, it's still Corvette, 1 and 2 in that class. And Oliver Gavin has about 18 seconds over Johnny O'Connell. What do you take? What do you make on this, Dorsey? Is the 4 just got brutal speed, or is Johnny and Ronnie thinking more about championship and just playing it cool?
It could be, 18 seconds isn't much around this racetrack, believe it or not. I mean, you can get into a gaggle of traffic in front of you and lose that much time really quickly. If you get into where these GT Porsches are 3 wide or 4 wide, you just can't get away. Right there, you see him flashing the headlights on and off to try to tell the GT car, hey, let me by here. So, I mean, 18 seconds is a lot, but it's not an insurmountable amount.
There's Johnny O'Connell
And remember, we've been caution-free throughout this entire event, so if you had a caution, this would stack up pretty quickly.
In this event last year, Johnny was involved in an awesome scrap with the Pro-Drive Ferrari of Jan Magnussen.
Johnny Mollem right in front there with the Celine, and that car is wounded. It's not doing too good.
Well, we were speculating on what's happening in the Corvette team. Let's find out firsthand. Ron Fellows is with Cal.
Well, Ron is always in the thick of this championship chase, but Ron, has been quite a month for you. You won on home turf with the Cadillac in Speed Vision Speedball Challenge GT, and then you had the second place run in the Nextel Cup. Do you ever wish you have a weekend off?
When I retire.
Making hay while the sun shines. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's been fun. We've done a lot of different things this summer. A couple of Trans Am races for Jim Durhog and a Corvette. Really enjoyed the home turf. I got to thank everybody at GM Racing for giving me the chance to get 2 races in the Cadillac CTS, and then obviously with the Corvette. A little disappointed not to get a double on that Sunday, but yeah, it's been pretty hectic. Had a lot of fun last weekend with the DEI car, and close. We'll get one. We'll get one time.
You do, mate. Any chance you can chase down that 4 car today?
You know, early it was we were pretty racy, but just got traffic is always a big factor, and Olivier was more aggressive than I was in traffic, and that was kind of the difference in the first stint, unfortunately. We can only hope. We're going to keep trying.
All right, mate. Best of luck.
Hey, I got to say hi to Lisa Fisher, one of our track nurses who's not well in North Carolina. Lisa, get well soon.
Okay, we wish you the best. Cheers.
Speaking of that margin between the 2 Corvettes, Johnny O'Connell has brought it down now to 16.5 seconds, so we will keep our eyes on that. The 71 machine, the Car Sport Viper of Jean-Philippe Belloc and Tom Weichert, ran into a little trouble earlier. Let's have a look.
Ran into a lot of trouble down the bottom of turn 5, as if he didn't make the corner, but he was at least stayed on the throttle, got through that gravel trap. He's still not done yet. He's still trying to sort it all out.
This is what it looked like from J.J. Lehto's view.
This is what you don't want to see as the leader of a race with 3 laps in the lead, is to have these big cars flying off the racetrack in front of you.
JJ's seen a lot of things happen from that cockpit today, that's for sure. He's cruising out in front. He's got the Road America 500 well and truly in his hand, and will shortly hand over to Marco Werner. It's been a pretty wild old year in the American Le Mans Series. Plenty of action on and off the track, that's for sure. You're back with us live here on Speed Channel. The Road America 500 continues. Lee Diffie with Dorsey Schrader, Brian Till and Calvin Fish with you. And Duncan Dayton for Intersport Racing sits second in this event. Behind J.J. Lehto, ahead of Oliver Gavin. And this car was in the thick of it early, Dorsey.
Yeah, it was really in the thick of it early. We saw those opening laps, made a little contact down there, put the Audi around once. Not intentional stuff, just good close racing.
Well, let's hear from the team principal. John Field is with Brian.
That's right, lead standing down here with John Field. He's visiting with his wife, Wendy, back here behind the pits. John, you got to be excited about the run early in the race. I know you guys had some problems later, but to see what the car could do again had to feel great.
Yeah, you know, we've been missing that all year, and to be back in the, you know, having a little dogfight with the Audi there with Chris earlier, it was a lot of fun. That's really what we go racing for, and you know, we're struggling a little with the setup on the car, and it ended up biting me a little in turn 5 there, but you know, we're going to try to keep working on it and be there for Petit. We'll try to be in have a good race car for that race.
Well, the contact that you had early in the race on the first lap, I believe it was, with JJ, just trying to get it in there on cold tires and slid a little bit, or?
No, actually, you know, I saw JJ was already committed to come out of 3, and Chris had just checked up a little too much in the corner. He had to get out of the gas. I was already committed to the corner and tapped him. A bit sorry about that, but I'll talk to JJ later.
Well, it's just like you called it, Dorsey, a racing incident. You know John Field, anytime he gets in the car, he's going to go for it, guys.
Yeah, John is one wicked competitor. We go way back, him and I, back to Skip Barber driving school days and so forth. And he really has come a great long way in his driving talent, no question. He is a monster aggressive driver, likes his wins. And this is a big effort by these guys to run this car.
Time to give you a piece of what we know that many of you love, and that is the sounds of speed, our various onboard cameras in a variety of cars and classes. Let's sit back and enjoy the sounds of speed.
Almost 140 miles per hour to the brake. This carousel corner coming up is frighteningly fast and goes for a long way. Let's see what he gets up to. 107 at the start of it, 108 there. You see him feathering the throttle, trying to work the understeer, keep it to a minimum. And that's just building speed. This car is suffering a little vibration problem. Kind of hear that here.
From the Simcoe Celine to the new Century Mortgage Porsche with Kurt Wagner. Sitting third, chasing down Johannes van Overbeek, but there's a 5-second deficit. GT is still Bernard, van Overbeek, Wagner, Lonnie Pechnik is fourth, and Craig Stanton chipping away in fifth. Back on board the 66.
See him there with his heel turned up. It's downshift. He's trying to get after those coolers. These gearboxes on these cars nowadays are so good. Steve's shifting right there with no clutch. Upshifting just by ripping out the throttle and he's pulling the gear lever back. So he's not even using the clutch going on his upshift. The gearbox has become so good that the fancy footwork, you see him touch the brake there, that was a confidence touch. He wanted to make sure before he got to turn 8 that when he got there, there'd be a pedal there. Sometimes you'll get knocked back on the pistons inside the calipers, and when you go down the straightaway, you'll get the other end and you won't have the brake pedal be halfway down the floor. If you go over there with your left foot and just touch that brake 1 or 2 times, it pumps the fluid back up, so you have a right back to his piston right there. That gives you a good brake pedal when you get down to this brake zone.
Talk Dorsey in a little more detail about the application when he's doing that. How hard is he hitting that brake pedal? When he's heel and towing it, how hard is he pushing his?
Well, right now where he's pushing down, where he's downshifting for those corners, he's pushing quite hard as he possibly can, short of locking the brake up. But those confident pushes are just a push to get the brake fluid through there, and they're not that hard. It doesn't slow the car up much. You see him do it with his left foot. He just reach over there and give it a little shot.
Kurt Wagner working hard inside the new Century Porsche for the Racers Group. Time to take a quick break. When we return, Le Mans and sports car legend Derek Bell. Every Monday at 9 Eastern, one of the new shows on Speed, Fifth Gear. Great show. You can brush up on your driving skills, get tips on avoiding speed traps, and road test the hottest cars on the market. Fifth Gear, Mondays at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, right here on Speed. Derek Bell, great to see you. Welcome to the Speed booth. And You've been busy here at Road America this weekend as we have lost Johnny Mollum.
Hearing or something, what is it? It felt, it was getting really bad. The vibration was massive, almost square tire feeling. Then suddenly as I came into the final corner, I braked at normal. It suddenly got bad and then something fell off. I heard a huge clunk. I think it was rubber falling off the left front. As it came off, the vibration went away, but it was too late because it had moved me to the left. I'm going to keep going, it's okay.
Well,
it didn't look like he was going to keep going to me.
No, you know what? David was talking about the rubber. Let's take a look here. He's just already to the outside. These big balls of rubber get up into the front suspension area, up in the front, and when he broke, it came underneath the car, he says, and it pushed him off the racetrack, which can't happen.
Well,
let's listen here. When we saw the vibration, you could definitely see the thing shaking.
What happens is it actually comes over and you actually run over the top of it with your wheel and it actually launches it. He was very lucky to get out of that.
Look at all the gravel.
Race leading car is on pit road. Calvin.
And JJ Lehto jumps out. It's going to be Marco Werner jumping in, of course, regular teammate for this man. And what a performance these guys have had this year. Certainly in qualifying, they've struggled against the Lolas, but they really come through on race day. JJ with an overall victory today will break a new record in ALMS history with the most overall wins at 15. And for Marco Werner, well, since we saw him burst on the scene at Sebring last year, he finished on the podium in every event he's entered. So it looks like a routine stop. I'm sure the boys with about a lap lead will change tires as well, just as a safeguard, even if they don't need them.
And guess what, Cal? We have heard that the 20 Dyson car, Chris Dyson, Andy Wallace, has been retired from the event. And essentially, so long as everything goes fine here for the ADT champion Audi, they have to win. With a win, they will clinch the P1 championship. And that will be JJ Lehto's first in the American Le Mans Series to be that champion. For Marco Werner, it would be back-to-back championships.
And I'll tell you what, when you clinch a championship with 2 races to go, there's nothing but party time for the rest of the year. Ryan?
Well, the 63 car is in. The left front tire on that car is flat. Now, I don't know if it went down before the incident that Johnny had or it was a factor in the incident, but it is definitely down. A lot of gravel underneath this car. I was talking to Terry Borchello. He said this is not an easy car to drive, and for some reason we're getting a lot of pickup on the tires. It's like putting a 1 pound wheel weight on it. They get out of balance and makes it very difficult to drive, and that possibly is what got Johnny Mollum.
That tire right there didn't look good at all. That showed some really funny pattern, like it'd been rubbing or something.
Very, very, very worn on the outside 3 or 4 inches.
They've been struggling all weekend with this vibration problem, and I don't know, it could be tire buildup, we don't know, but I mean, they've not been able to cure it.
Derek, we touched on it a little earlier. You've been busy this weekend because you're back.
Look at the rocks coming out of there for everybody to run over.
Oh, that's really lovely. That's the best part of this.
Oh, my.
We were especially told to keep on the grass if we went off and try and keep it on the grass, but you can't with these low-hung cars because you're going to rip the under tray off.
Here's talking to Jim Bell, the engineer on this car, trying to figure out what exactly the problem is with this. They've been really struggling to get it right.
Back up front, Marco Werner now behind the wheel of the Audi R8 for ADT champion Audi. I'd just like to stress again that these guys do need to win this race to clinch the title. Calvin.
Down here with a smiling JJ Lehto and JJ. Interesting first lap. Did the anger management classes kick in once again?
I tell you, I was looking at my glove and it said anger management. I thought, oh, you know, I don't want to have to repeat what we had in Portland. So there was a couple of incidents, and the panels hit me really hard on the side of the car a little bit later on when I was getting boots. So I was a little bit worried that we're going to have a radiator problem, but temperature wasn't going up, so no problems at all.
It was just, I lost a lot in the first lap, but then I was able to catch it up. I mean, the guys, champion racing guys, they did a great job last night because we had a lot of problems yesterday, and they stripped the whole car, rebuilt it last night, and it was really good in the morning already, so I was really looking forward to race here. Unfortunately, there was a little incident in the first lap, but the car was good enough, so we were able to get the lead, and, we are there now.
You're absolutely flying there. I know you talked about the fact the car had major understeer through the practice and test days. You talked about the changes last night. Is that gone, or are you still dealing with that a little bit?
It still understeers a little bit. We really didn't have time to set up the car again because we just took a base set because we just changed everything yesterday, and we found a broken rear roll bar which was finally cracked. So that was just causing a lot of problems with the car setup, and it was really, really difficult to find it. Luckily, our engineer Brad, he was able to just see it, and then we just started to change things. So we changed everything: diff, gearbox, just name it. The whole back end, front end, and now it's working well.
Sequence tonight?
Absolutely.
See you there.
He celebrated big time last year, I can tell you that, with Johnny Herbert when they won this event. And the ADT champion Audi, not only racing for their 5th win this season, but a championship. They've had some great wins this year. Speed Channel's coverage of the Road America 500 is brought to you by Yokohama Tires and by Audi. In technology, performance and design, our goal remains constant. Never follow. Welcome back to Elkhart Lake, the Road America circuit. Lee Diffie, Dorsey Schrader with special guest Derek Bell in here, and Brian Till, Calvin Fish working pit road. It is Marco Werner who leads the way in the 38 ADT champion Audi over Duncan Dayton, who is second. Ollie Gavin is third. Johnny O'Connell is fourth. And Ian James is fifth. And again, to stress that point, if these guys win today, and that is the most important part, if they win, they can clinch the Prototype 1 championship right here today.
And Derek, that's what's so frustrating. Here you are in the car that's 2 laps up, and you've got a long way to go in this race, and if you just finish and win, you're going to win this championship, but first you have to finish, and you start hearing all these little noises, creaks and groans.
Absolutely, and look at this, just there at that one moment, he wants to slip by, and the guy just shuts the door slightly on, and he goes, oh, I don't need that too often. His brain, as you so rightly say, is listening, or is hearing these strange things, and then on top of that, he has a moment, or not a moment, but a little split second when somebody gets in the way, and it just really makes it very, very hard work for these last laps.
And this car has been plagued by that all along. I mean, other cars he's passing get in. Let's get down to Calvin Fish with the 3.
Well, the chase is still on in GTS. I know they're several seconds behind the 4 car, but now Johnny O'Connell has brought the 3 machine in and turned it over to Ron Fellows. They try and keep these guys as fresh as they can, so they single stint. Fuel is done. You hear the call from the crew chief, and now they go to tires. Very efficient team. They're just working on the details this year. They realize they're the favorites week in, week out. They just want to up their game and just really fine-tune the whole operation of this remarkable Corvette squad.
Ron Fellows is set.
Watch your blade line. Reserve pump off.
And the battle resumes between the 3 and the 4. The Corvette guys going hard at it. And Derek, quickly before something happens, we've tried to say it a few times. You are now back driving. You're in the Speed World Challenge in a Volvo in the GT class. How are things?
Well, it's obviously a big struggle trying to get everything developed and in place to be competitive, but we've been a lot of pressure all around us to get out there and race, and we brought the car here, and having only done 45 miles at a small test track in Florida. So I was thrilled to be here, and in fact, people might criticize it, but in fact, we learned so much in those 3 days with testing and stuff. There's nothing like a race situation, qualifying practice, to find out where you're weak, where you're strong, and find out some problems with the cars. And it's run really, really well.
Gavin brings the 4 in, hands it back over to Olivier Beretta, who had a blistering qualifying time and opening stint here. You heard Ron Fellows say earlier that he was more aggressive in the traffic. That's what put them in the best spot. Cal.
Well, again, it looks like routine. We'll again see new, fresh Michelins going on at this car as well. So it's just routine. Driver changes being completed, fueling's going in, and again, they have to wait on these tires, of course, and now they go to work. They can't afford a slip here. They don't have a big lead, so this pit stop needs to be flawless. Otherwise, Ron Fellows will pounce.
We saw trouble right there a little bit with that left front tire rolling away. Luckily, it didn't roll too far, but it did cost some time. Oh, and debris in the front straightaway, a big hunk of something. Here's the problem, right rear completely gone off that car, sitting right in the start-finish line.
He's got a long way back, too, to come round. He's got 4 miles.
Watch this. This is going to be an explosion. Boom!
Ooh, he was lucky to keep that on under control, wasn't he?
Very lucky, because he's running a good 150 mile an hour.
Absolutely. And he's got to go 4 miles to get back. And of course, there's no wheel to run on. Who knows if it's going to damage the bodywork down that right-hand side just in front of the wheel.
It's a long, lonely ride. It's not even touching the ground.
No, he's running on the chassis, isn't he?
Problems for Jean-Philippe Belloc. The debris needs to get cleaned up. It's in a very dangerous spot. The highest speed at the circuit as Belloc limps back to pit road. Full course caution as Johnny O's day. His work is over. Kevin Buckler, he's got his hands full at the moment as well. Four nights a week, Dave Despain talks to the motorsport world. 10 Eastern. And amongst the many people he will speak to this week, IRL driver Thomas Schechter, Champ Car star Justin Wilson, and Nextel Cup driver Jeremy Mayfield. Doug Feehan is definitely a big fan.
Interviewing Feehan. Feehan's giving a little massage on the top of the skull cap there.
Under caution here at Road America for the debris on the front stretch. Jean-Philippe Belloc had a rear tire blowout. 2 hours down and less than 45 to go. And early on, JJ Lehto spun. So too did Mark Lieb after a suspension part broke. Problems for the 20 of Chris Dyson, and they are now retired from the event. So too is the sister car, the 16. JJ Lehto there went into the lead. And this is the point in time when Butch Leitzinger found out he would go no further. So too here for Chris Dyson. The car simply would not refire. Johnny Molam had an off-track excursion, but he's still going at the moment. It's been a troublesome day for this Semco Celine, and this is what caused this one and only full course caution. Jean-Philippe Belloc, Derek Bell, did a very good job of handling the car, didn't he?
I mean, at that speed, you say 160 odd miles an hour, and a tire lets loose. But it just shows how solid those chassis are these days, and you know how well balanced they are from the driving point of view.
Yeah, that thing, that explosion right there when it did that, it got his full attention. But he did a great job of keeping it straight.
Well, I had the same yesterday when the prop shaft broke in the same place. But you know, all-wheel drive does help you because all wheels are trying to struggle to keep the car going straight.
There you go.
Well, we'll make the most of this full course caution and squeeze in another quick commercial break. Stay up to tune with everything up to date and in tune with everything in the American Le Mans Series. SpeedTV.com and also AmericanLeMans.com.
It's one of those places, it's so quick, it requires a great deal of concentration, but at the same time you got such long straights, it gives you time to relax, but at the same time to maintain that level of concentration over a 4 mile track is one of the challenges.
Well, it's my favorite track in America, and I consider it the North American Spa. It's fast, it's long, it's got a lot of vertical change, and just a lot of fun to drive as a driver.
What makes this track so great is, at least when I was growing up, I watched racing that was on road courses, or we would drive through mountains and things, and you always wanted to go fast. So being that this goes through the natural terrain of the land, it feels like you're actually out on a country road and trying to go as fast as you can.
We are still under caution here at Road America, and this is the reason why. Yeah, it is the same car, but a different incident. Look at the front left.
This is unbelievable. They got back to the pits, put the right rear on. You see the damage from that explosion, but now look at the left front. It's completely blown out. It's taken the hood off. It's taken the front fender off. It's trying to take the suspension off, and he's got another 2 miles to go.
The trouble is there's a lot of shingle out there from the kitty litter when these people have been off, and no doubt when he came out of the pit lane, there was traffic going by, and of course you keep over to the what you call the incorrect line and pick up all sorts of rubbish, but he's laying all sorts of stuff down now.
Yeah,
and he keeps having a long run back to the pits, doesn't he? I don't quite know what happened, but he's done nearly 4 miles again.
Oh, it's a mess.
Well, the GT frontrunners have been on pit road. Let's get an update. Here's Cal.
Well, it's a routine stop for the number 23 car, Lee. It was Timo Bernard who came in. He stayed behind the wheel. They put half a tank of fuel in and fresh Michelin tires. Remember, he's really being backed up by his teammate Jörg Bergmeister this year because Jörg unfortunately didn't make any laps during the Sebring event, didn't get the required amount in there. So we've been playing backup all year to his teammate, and he's trying to chase down that Flying Lizard team. For more on that team, let's go down to Brian Tell.
45 car was just in. Overbeck stayed in the car. They did do fuel and they did do tires, but they did it on a time basis because they don't have that much longer in the race. They didn't want to take the time to fill it with fuel. They almost beat that Alex Job car back out. Things will be a little bit jumbled because of the pit stops, but it should be a good run to the end for those guys.
It has certainly helped too, the Peterson White Lightning boys. And they will now feel that they have a real shot at challenging. This will be an interesting final stint as the countdown is on. Stick around. You're watching round 7 of the American Le Mans Series. Round 8 coming up. It's the second last event of the year. The Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta, one of the best events on the schedule. The 10-hour race that goes into the night. And look for that right here on Speed, September 25. Still under caution, but we're getting closer to going back racing here. And this will be a mad scramble to the finish. That guy there, Marco Werner, if he wins this race in just a little over half an hour's time, he and JJ Lehto will clinch the Prototype 1 championship. And it's also looking very good for Ian James as far as the championship goes. And there's Ian sitting right behind Marco Werner in the Miracle Motorsports Courage.
Marco's got to be nervous as can be. Look at that racetrack and look at all of the debris and junk that's all over. We saw that Viper is losing carbon fiber, it's losing pieces of tire, it's losing pieces of suspension. And all of that stuff laying on this racetrack can give you a puncture. And this man doesn't need any kind of a thing. Look at this, that shot right there. All kind of debris everywhere.
Well, problems in the Paynos camp. Brian Till has more.
Well, the problem was, we talked about it earlier on, the cool suit was not working in that car. And as I said, it's like wrapping a baked potato in foil and putting it in the oven. You actually cook it there when the cool suit doesn't work. Gunnar was going to have to finish the race because Salins was not able to continue. They kept him out there as long as they could. And on the last yellow, when he brought the car in, they looked at him and said, no, Gunnar, you are through. And they've got the oxygen on him right now. He seems to be okay, but way too overheated to continue, especially on a racetrack like this. Not only a danger to yourself, but everybody else that's out there competing.
I mean, it's really tough on the guys. No matter what age, Gunnar has to be one of the youngest and very talented young guys out there. But the heat in there, and particularly it's brought on, believe it or not, magnified under that yellow caution. And they've been under caution for nearly 10 minutes. And you've got no air flowing through. And I've seen all the windows are sealed on these Porsches now, so they're not even ducting air to the driver. But they do have the cool suits. But if they start to fail, you're in a lot of trouble.
Now, like, people always come to me now and say, you miss driving on a day like that when that's going on? No, I do not.
But the day is so cool. It's not even a hot day.
Back to green, and here we go. The run to the checkered flag after an extended yellow period. Marco Werner has another championship in his sights in just 30 minutes time.
Big hunk of rubber right here, laying right there in the middle of off the racetrack. That's what we're talking about. Those things are everywhere right now.
Should be an interesting scrap too between the two GTS Corvettes. Ron Fellows and Olivier Beretta will watch that one to the end with much interest also.
The thing is, they get told race as hard as you can, but just don't have one another off. Yeah. And that's kind of difficult sometimes.
It is, as good as those guys are going out.
I mean, you have to say they've done such a magnificent job with these Corvettes over the years. I can't think, how is it, 4 years now? I mean, they are state of the art of that class of car. And they're so strong, they're so striking in those colors, and the drivers drive it flat out all the time. But they must be so tough to drive.
They're really hot inside, talking with Ron Fellows and the guys. I mean, they just really have a lot of fatigue and a lot of heat from that big V8 motor sitting up in there. And That's the hardest thing to get used to, is just dealing with the stress of the 155-degree environment.
Well, that's it. I mean, as they went around behind the pace car there you've got the, you know, the heat just building up all over you. Actually, this car, he's letting him through. I was going to say this car is much quicker down the straight than the prototype.
Well, look at this in GT land. The battle is on. We said it was going to be interesting right to the end. Take a look at this. You've got the Racers Group portion. You've got the Peterson White Lightning. You've got the Flying Lizard and Alex Job Racing, all nose to tail. Great stuff in GT.
One of the Flying Lizard cars right up ahead there. Now side by side for the kink. Oh boy, that was wise to let that happen before the turning.
Craig Stanton nips by Patrick Long.
That was a very good, sorry to interrupt you, that was a tremendous move, because I tell you what, it doesn't show it on any of these shots. That is a really tight corner. The kink has become a really tight corner, you know.
If you're by yourself, but side by side.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous, yeah.
Of course, Patrick was smart enough to realize that he didn't want any part of that, so he let it happen cleanly.
Also on the first lap like that, you sort of, you know that the others are sort of getting themselves back into gear, so you see a gap and you just go for it, and hope the other guy's not sort of quite got up to his 100% yet.
Craig Stanton is the man on the move in GT. He is flying at the moment. He's not only by the 45, now he's up into second, and he is chasing down the Alex Job Racing machine. There it is on the left of your screen. The team that won here last year at Road America, they're flying. Do you remember the interview earlier in our broadcast with Brian Till when he had Dave Murray? He said, how much would you pay for a caution? And Murray said, I'd pay whatever it took. Well, he got it, and they've been driving the wheels off that car, coming back through the field, and now up into second. So well done, Peterson White Lightning.
We've documented Craig Stanton's physical fitness before. This guy really, really punishes himself, works very, very hard. So this heat and so forth that affects the other guys is probably less affecting him because he really punishes himself to get in shape for this.
24 of Romar Dumas coming through on the inside there of Johannes van Overbeek.
Well, the yellow was a blessing, certainly, for the 31 car. We talked about that, but it really hurt the 66 Racers Group car. Patrick Long had done such a good job with that car early on and was back in it, but they came in, did their pit stop, went back out, and right after that is when they got the full course yellow. That benefited the other GT cars. They were able to stop under yellow, and Patrick Long and the Racers Group lost the lap on that. So even though they're running fourth, they've got 4 miles to make up and change before they can even contend with the guys that are now running in front of them.
In GT, it's Bernard, Stanton, Van Overbeek, Long. Tim Sugden is doing great for J3. He sits 5th ahead of Seth Nyman. Philip Collin, Sasha Masson is 8th at the moment. The GT class has been very interesting this year. We'll be back with more from Road America in just a moment. Smooth sailing at Road America for German Marco Werner. His Finnish teammate JJ Lehto had to fight hard early on after he spun, then he had to play catch-up, pass, then Butch Leitzinger retired from the race. JJ moved into the lead. They had a great scrap, by the way, if you didn't see it earlier on, and now this man took over with just under an hour to go, and now we've got less than half an hour to go. Back in GT, and we need to remind you that the 24 Alex Job Racing machine of Romar Dumas Mark Lieb has retired due to clutch problems.
And there is the car being pushed behind the wall, clutch is out. It's the end of the day. Tough way to go out, so close to the end.
I can't believe, Dorsey, after they had that great victory in Portland, the last 2 events Motorsport in here have just been diabolical for those guys. The lead interval between Timo Bernard and second place Craig Stanton is now almost 9 seconds. Alex Job obviously got on the radio and said, Stanton's coming, respond.
Well, let me tell you about response. Timo Bernard is 3 seconds a lap faster right now than Craig Stanton. So when they told him to pull the trigger, they didn't mess around.
They both pulled the trigger, but one was 3 seconds quicker.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. At this stage of the race, when you consider there is a lot of rubber, we've seen most of it coming off that Viper, but a lot of rubber on the road, and obviously in certain places oil too, and the track is warmer as it has been, and the guys are turning and cracking good laps.
And if things were to stay as they are right now, Timo Bernard would be the new points leader in GT. While the Prototype 1 and 2 battles might be won today as far as the championship, this GT class, it's going to go all the way to the wire at Laguna Seca.
Forget about the 213. He just ran a 210. That is unbelievable.
On board with Patrick Long, the New Century Mortgage Porsche for the Racers Group. And Patrick sits in 4th place at the moment.
You have to say, Dorsey, that this track, it just lends itself to working and groveling away and picking up tenths of a second. You pick up hundredths of a second on a corner, and by the end of a lap, there's a lot of time you've made up.
Yeah, this racetrack for sure.
Pat on the back to Tim Sugden and J3 Racing. His teammate Justin Jackson. This is a solid performance, a top 5 result for these boys.
And look how clean the car is. That's unusual for all these guys. That doesn't have a mark on it. Most of these guys running around in cars that are all just beat about half to death.
They picked up a 4th spot at Lime Rock Park earlier this year, so if they do stay where they are, this will be their 2nd best result of the year.
I raced with Tim at Daytona about 3 or 4 years ago with Steve O'Rourke, who ran Tim in the British Championship and the European Championship. They finished, what, 4th at Le Mans one year, didn't they, together?
Yeah.
And they were GT British champions. I mean, a very talented young man. And it's nice to see that since Steve sadly has passed away, but that Tim has got himself a very good drive over here.
We had dinner with him the other night. He is a funny guy.
Yeah, I saw you eating with him.
Yes.
No, he's very funny. I love his humour, as long as you can understand what he's saying. he comes from up north and he talks a bit different, you know.
Tell us about burning his garage down as a kid.
So Sugden having a pretty clear run in 5th place. That'll give the J3 boys a boost, while the New Century Racers Group guys are kicking back and taking it easy. Back at Road America, spectators enjoying a wonderfully sunny day, but it's pretty windy here. And we were meant to get rain a little earlier. Thankfully, that did not come. Back on board with Patrick Long. And it's a little frustrating, I'm sure, for him. It seems as though a podium may elude them another time. The man who runs this team, Kevin Buckler, of course, not racing in the American Le Mans Series at the moment, but he does race in other series, and he had a very, very scary moment at Watkins Glen a week ago. Let's take a look at this, and Dorsey, I'll let you talk through it.
This is one of the most frightening crashes. Look, Kevin Buckler hits the rain. Big crash, but his wreck is not over yet. He just thinks it is. Keep watching. Cars coming in, this one in particular.
That's Craig Standard, incidentally.
Now, the big hit. Mike Boffman, the Corvette, comes in and completely nails Buckler's car.
And the scary, scary moment, Kevin was trying to get out of that scene and had unbuckled himself before Mike Boffman hit him, and was very lucky to come away from that. He was limping away. He did go into hospital, and thankfully Kevin is here this weekend, and he's a little bruised and battered and sore. And Brian Till is with him right now.
It's always good to see Kevin Buckler, and especially this weekend after what happened last weekend. Kevin, give us an idea of what that was like.
There was a huge amount of rain that came down in that one corner of the crack there at Watkins Glen, and all of us were caught off guard. You know, I went in real hard on the first hit. I tried to get out of the car. I'm glad I didn't. I would have been squished like a bug. I'll tell you what, I hadn't seen that footage till a couple days later, and I know why I'm so sore still. So, you know, real lucky. The car, real safe. The Porsche, you know, a good testament to the way the car's built, because, I mean, I got hit real hard there.
Well, I could tell you were just flinching looking at the video, but not driving on a full-time basis. Is the business aspect as fulfilling as the driving?
You know, I really put on my team owner hat this year, and I wanted to get my competitive juices flowing in some way. I've got a real obligation to my sponsors here with the New Century Mortgage and Monster Cable. You know, we work real hard. American Le Mans Series and all of sports car racing, you know, it's a real business. And I want to do my very best I can to take this and drive this business as far forward as I can. You know, I'm proud to be representing these guys, and I want to just do a really good job.
Well, just like when he was driving the race car, the business aspect, the same way he wants to drive it. He wants to drive it to the front, Lee.
And he does a very good job at it. Patrick Long is one of his 2 drivers in the 66, that is anyway, and maintains his 4th place. Meanwhile, up front, Marco Werner powers on. He leads the way and leads easily over John Field and Olivier Beretta. You're watching the final 15 minutes of round 7, the Road America
course, that's what you need to be successful in any class of racing.
And one of the most beautiful race shops I've ever seen down in Pompano Beach, Florida. It's first-class place. Nobody, Dave Marsh does everything first class, but I mean, it's all business. They adjust for their team members and so forth accordingly. Right now, it is a very important, very powerful machine, that whole team.
In prototype 2, Ian James still leads the way and leads very, very well. And today, if he can hang in there for another 11.5 minutes, he will put himself in a very strong position in this prototype 2 championship chase. He's hunting down his first professional title.
The garage has been flawless since they've unloaded it. They had one incident, like I said, where they crashed the car on cold tires. They rebuilt it. They needed to be fixed on it, and done a great job. And the car's just been right on money.
This was the car, in fact, they were going to put Patrick Tambay, myself, and Jean-Pierre Jabot in an ALMS team at the sponsored by a Japanese medical clinic, but it didn't quite come off. I'm rather glad to say it, anyway.
That sounds like a good joke. We should work on that one. Let's get down there and find out more about the Miracle Boys. Here's Cal.
I'm with the team owner and one of the drivers, John Macaluso. John, has been a tremendous season for this new team, and all along the goal is the championship, but not just that, where that gets you to. What's this all about?
Well, you know, with our Sebring, we thought we had a guaranteed invitation to Le Mans, and that's what started the realization of this dream. As we got into it, we found out we had a little championship, and I think when anybody starts sports car racing, to me, the 24 Hours of Le Mans is like the World Series, you know, Super Bowl, whatever it is. When I went there to look at the garage, I had never been there to the track, and there was nothing happening other than some testing, test days. And the hair stands up on your arm. It's just, it was a thrill to be there. And for a small privateer team like us to recognize that it's been a lifelong dream of mine, I can't put it into words. I can't wait for it to happen. You know, we've got a great car that should do well there now, and it's just going to be so exciting for everybody.
Congratulations to you. It's certainly been a superb team effort.
Well, thanks. Thank you for all your help, too. Appreciate it.
And Clint Field, John Field, the whole Intersport team, they will be thinking about the next 2 races very seriously, because nothing short of victories there is what they need to stay in this championship chase in the Prototype 2 class. For Ian James and young James Gouet, what a dream drive today. In GTS, this man here, Olivier Beretta, enjoys a 6.5-second lead over Ron Fellows in GTS.
10 minutes to go.
That's his creaky tone, his lead over the other car.
You think, can I slow down? He's going to slow down much with his teammates 6 seconds behind.
Slow down, keep pressing, keep pressing.
And in GT, Timo Bernard, who has been brilliant today, and when he was told to put the gas pedal down, that's exactly what he did earlier. Still running very impressive lap times, and has a 17-second lead over Craig Stanton. And that's the way that sits in amongst our 4 classes. We're going to squeeze in our last commercial break, and when we come back, we will take you to the checkered flag. Back at Road America, the closing stages of the Road America 500. And yeah, it's a lonely sight, but it's a good one for the champion team. Their car in clear space and heading to victory lane in under 10 minutes.
And in 2 laps to go, that pretty much will be a moot point soon.
Time to take a look at the Aqua Velva move of the race, and it involves the 38 machine early on, right on lap 1.
Right on lap 1, he gets bumped in the quarter panel on cold tires and turned around by John Field, and has to battle his way back from that, which didn't take him all that long, actually, to get to the front.
Derek Bell, time to say thanks very much to you. Great to see you again, and on behalf of everyone at Speed, wish you the best in the Speed World Challenge GT thing, a program with the Volvo. I know that's going to expand next year, so best of luck.
Thank you very much. I enjoy always being with you.
Continuing on, we ride with the race leader, 5.5 minutes to go. Werner is almost there. Talk us through this, Dorsey, when you know you've got a lead, and if nothing mechanically goes wrong, or you don't make an error, you can't be beaten. difficult to keep your focus? What do you do?
I mean, one thing you don't do is slow up too much, because that's when you start being sloppy. You have to keep your momentum up. You have to keep your speed up to a degree. So, I hate to say it, but you get complacent, you get bored running around at something less than full throttle or full speed. So you really have to concentrate on these last couple of laps that you don't make silly errors. So when you're always worrying about something, all this debris on the racetrack, like I'm saying, he's seeing this debris. You can see these hunks of rubber and so forth. Oh, please, just don't get a flat or something.
When you were in this position, did you back off, or did you just keep charging?
I'd say you'd run like 85%, 85, 90%. Have to stay sharp, you know, but you know you've got it won. There's nobody who's going to catch up in 2 laps with just under 10 minutes left to go if you just keep going like you're supposed to do. So, he's not celebrating the victory yet, but he knows where he's at.
He approaches the Simcoe Celine. Johnny Molan still behind the wheel. He gets by Johnny. Incidentally, the Simcoe car sits 6th overall. We ride with Johnny now. 6th overall and 3rd in GTS. Updating you on the 3, Ron Fellows now 9.5 seconds behind Olivier Beretta, but a solid 2nd place in the bag. Let's get down to Calvin Fish.
Here with Johnny O, obviously Ron Fellows' teammate. Johnny, looks like you may come up a little short again this year, but last year it couldn't have been closer with you and Magnussen having a great battle there on the last lap. Talk us through last year.
Well, first off, like I said hi to Kelly at home. She got angry at me last time, so hi, Kelly. Yeah, what a great battle, I mean, holding in off for 3 or 4 laps. Traffic worked a little bit against us, and then, of course, him sneaking by. Turn 1, the last lap, it was pretty exciting. I think had we been on Michelin tires last year, it would have been a different outcome. They wouldn't have even been close to us. But you know what? I mean, most racetracks, if you win at, you love them. This is one I've never won at, but I still love it. I mean, it's great here, when Ron and I and everybody on the 3 car, Doug Beat, the guys on the 4 car, they're just running a little quicker this weekend. Great job nonetheless. Thanks a lot.
Sitting 4th overall, number 3 Corvette. And that's
you're always hoping that something.
car, and then that white B2 car is in turn 6. He's going fairly slow also.
Just lose a cylinder or have a flat tire. Let me win this race. Everybody right now that when you stand in the race knows where they are. You can't do much without squat.
That was very big of Johnny, I thought, there to say, to actually just be honest enough to say our teammates were just a bit quicker this weekend.
They realize that they're being outrun by their teammates. If you're going to get outrun, I guess that's the best way to do it.
This is the lead GTS car, Olivier Beretta, Oliver Gavin, just a lap and a half away from their 3rd victory of the year. So they can get up to the same level. At the moment, it's 4 victories, place 2 in the Corvette camp. That's about to change today. It'll be 4 to Ronnie and Johnny, 3 to the 2 Ollies. Marco Werner on his way to victory number 5 this year.
That team has done such a great job, like Derek was talking about. They've actually tested with another car. They ran 2 cars for most of the weekend here as they're trying to develop the car that they ran at Le Mans.
Looking forward to seeing that 2nd car in action, hopefully in either of the remaining 2 events. Road Atlanta and then the 400-kilometer event at Laguna Seca to finish the year up. Credit to the Intersport team too, John Field, Duncan Dayton for their 2nd place. In a lap or so's time. Marco Werner this time round will get the white flag.
1 more 4-mile lap to go. Actually, he's going to win it either way.
1 more to go for Marco Werner, and back-to-back championships on the line for this man, and he will be the first ever back-to-back champion in the American Le Mans Series. In '99 it was Elliott Forbes Robinson, in 2000 it was Alan McNish, in 01, and of course I'm talking prototype here, prototype 1, the highest class. In 01 it was Manuel Piro, in 02 it was Tom Christensen, and of course last year it was Frank
arguably the best road race car ever built in the world. I've gotten to drive it. I was privileged enough to be able to drive this car. It's just absolutely a stellar piece of machinery. And it just keeps coming back for more, no doubt about that.
Speaking championships, that has been our theme today. In GT, Timo Bernard puts himself into a strong position. If he stays and gets the win, in just a few minutes' time, he will leapfrog into the lead of that championship. Ron Fellows, Johnny O'Connell, they're trying for Ron is trying for 3 consecutive GTS championships. For Johnny O'Connell, it will be back-to-back co-champions. So a lot on the line over the next 2 events. And points so valuable. Canada corner for the final time. Out of the shadows and heading to the checkered flag and victory lane and a championship.
You could coast there from here if it wasn't for this hill. He's going to have to climb the hill one more time.
And with the retirement of the 20, and they only completed 13 laps, this gives the ALMS championship and the win here. The Road America 500 is won by the ADT champion Audi team, Marco Werner and JJ Lehto.
JJ celebrating.
Nice work, Marco. Nice drive. Well done, everyone.
On the horn there, team manager.
Brilliant performance from those guys. The 4 of Olivier Beretta and Oliver Gavin finished 3rd overall. They'll be on the podium. They take the GTS victory. Beretta on the radio pretty hard to the camp. As he goes through the kink for the final time. On his way for he and Oliver Gavin, their first back-to-back victories of the year. Most recent round of motorsport, and now here at Road America. Great performance. There'll be another Corvette 1-2 in GTS.
Shot 14 seconds split between them, so obviously Olivier knows that he also just has to find the score one more time.
And after in P2, after domination from Quinfield, Ross Lavelle and Johnfield on occasion, the Miracle Motorsports gang will be back on top with James Huey and Ian James. But Beretta takes the flag and the GTS class victory, and right behind him, Timo Bernard will win GT today and go into the points lead. Stunning performance from him. And
just moved it right along. I thought he just lost his tire there.
Just the dirty track. Here is the prototype 2 class winner, Ian James. It says thanks John on there for making the investment, buying the new car, or it's really paid off here today. When we return to Road America, we'll hear from our winners. Celebrations about to start right here at Road America, the conclusion of the Road America 500. Let's get down to Victory Lane and Calvin Fish.
Well, what a day for JJ Lehto. You break the record for most overall wins in ALMS history at 15, and you also lock down the championship.
Well, it sounds really good. Everything went so well today. I'm really happy for champion racing and also for myself, because I have been fighting for the championship for many, many times, and I think that was 1988 last time I won a championship, so it really feels good. And for the team as well, Dave Moraz and the whole team, they've been working so hard all year. And also last year when we started together, we were really close to win it, but it didn't work out last year, so this year has been so good. I'm happy.
JJ, congratulations. Meanwhile, further down Victory Lane, we have some other winners, Brian Till.
Now, Timo just pulled in. Jörg Bergmeister standing here. That's 4 wins on the season for you guys, 2 in a row, and your qualifying lap spectacular. Even though you're not in it for the championship anymore, it doesn't diminish your drive, obviously.
No, definitely not. I just tried to have Timo now for the championship, and it looks pretty good now for him. And yeah, the car was just perfect. Thanks to the team, they did a great job again, and hopefully it will stay the same for Atlanta.
Well, he said the car was just perfect. I don't think it could have been any other way to turn those kind of lap times, guys.
4 consecutive victories now for Alex Job Racing. Here we see the Prototype 1 results, and what a tough day for Dyson. Back there 3rd and 4th. Prototype 2, it was all about Miracle Motorsports, a 1-2 for those guys, and for Intersport, the 30 car and the 56 of Team Bucknam, mechanical issues taking them out of the race. Ollie Gavin, Olivier Beretta, another win for them over the sister car, and what an eventful day for Weikart and and Jean-Philippe Belloc. And in GT, boy, this is a hotly contested class. And there's the top 5 right there. Let's hear from the man who won P2 today.
Ian, what a great day for you. You locked down the championship. It's between you and James the rest of the way, and a win in this brand new race car.
Yeah, I mean, wonderful weekend. You know, Johnny Mack brought this over from France. It won last weekend in England. Now we brought it to Elkhart Lake and won again. So I'm really, really happy and can't wait for the last 2 races of the year.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Calvin.
What a great debut for that car. Taking a look at the points after round 7, and there it is. JJ Lehto, Marco Werner are the Prototype 1 class champions for 2004. In P2, it certainly looks good for Ian James, doesn't it? With James Guay just 4 back, of course, his co-driver Clintfield, Robin Liddell. And they're 47 back. It's tight in P2. Ron Fellows, Johnny O'Connell looking good for the championship, but the sister car is not lying down, that's for sure. Beretta and Gavin still powering on. And there you have it. Bernard, for the first time, pops himself up there into the #1 position. We look forward to the next event at Road Atlanta. It is the one and only Petit Le Mans, the 10-hour event. On behalf of Brian Till, Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, I'm Lee Diffie. Thanks for being with us live here on Speed Channel, our coverage of the Road America 500, and we congratulate JJ Lehto and Marco Werner, champions in 2004.